I'm putting it pretty simply.
No, I'm acknowledging that. I'm saying the confusion is most likely my fault, right? So I'm saying I thought that you said that you'd always believed, and then I said, okay, well, then it's not the case that you were convinced, right? Because you always believed. But then I thought I heard you say, I was probably wrong, that you were convinced by something you read in the Bible.
Well, yeah, growing up, I believe in God, but I didn't actually have like some kind of any kind of material or substance as to what that like some legitimate text as to what that entails. I mean, it's just I have just some vague understandings about right and wrong, and that just vague understandings about the theme of God, just like any agnostic who grows up and they believe in God, but they never actually looked into it or read about it. I mean, at best, they might have prayed a couple of times a year or a couple of times in their life, and that's it. But it wasn't until I read the Bible that it was no longer just an agnostic experience anymore. Now it was actually learning about God.
All right. So when you say you grew up believing in God, what do you mean by that? You grew up in a household where it was accepted to be true, parents were Christian, something like that?
My parents nor or any well, the only person who really went to church was my grandma. And, um, and I mean, we just had I mean, it was a vague theme of just of our lives. I mean, my dad would occasionally bring it up. Mom would pray over me sometimes. I heard of the word God, and I would go to church sometimes, and my grandma, with my grandma, I didn't understand what it was because it was mostly in Spanish, and I probably started going to church like around six years old, but the sense that there was someone watching over me, and that there was God. I mean, it's a very simplistic a sense of faith and belief. For someone who's very young. I mean, to tell a 4-year-old, believe in God because there's a God. It's like, well, they'll get it. They'll get a pretty good understanding of it. Just on their own sense of just like of their own, just acknowledgement of like what that means. Like, well, who is God? It's like he's the one up in the heavens who created, the earth, created you, created me, so on and so forth. And it's like, oh, okay, I can get that, I understand that.
Okay, yeah. So when someone like me, who is a non-believer, hears the story that you told, and you kind of outlined how you came to be a believer, and I personally don't find that say like convincing for me personally, right?
Right.
Do you think that I ought to find that convincing?
First of all, I mean, you would have to have an interest in actually knowing what is true, and actually having an interest in yeah, and what is purpose what has purpose? Because thank you, that dude. What has purpose, dude? I mean, you go ahead and take the concept or the general sense of good and evil, and does that mean anything to you? Is that just sort of a trivial, amusing theme for you? Do you actually take interest in these things because this is what our world is made of, and it's the path to knowledge. I mean, most of us it has to do something with spiritual maturity, and eventually, we want to know what is actually good, and we find that there's a severity to this whole thing, which actually gives it I wouldn't say it's magnanimous, but it actually instills real meaning to life instead of just kind of the swaying of one theme for a season of this and then a theme of that, and you don't really know what you believe. You just kind of go with this belief for a while, and you go for what belief with that for a while. But yeah, there's that, and eventually we all need help. I mean, there's kind of like a saying that even an atheist, when they're in trouble, they'll go ahead and pray to God, even though they don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, therefore, what? They do believe?
well, it's not saying that they. I mean, they believe. It's just that. By the way, I need to get back to listening in because I was going to check out what this one guy was going to say when he was up on there. So I'll make this quick. Generally speaking, so it's when you start actually like gaining a maturity in your understanding about the themes of what the Bible is talking about, and good and evil in the most traditional sense. I mean, right and wrong. I mean, we do live in a moralistic world. Our entire foundation of what succeeds and what actually manages to create something.
Do you think you could be wrong about the Christian God?
Well, that's the thing, dude. Having the values and the principles of what Jesus and God is saying is just as important as believing them. And if you go ahead and manage to go ahead and at least entail those principles and make an effort to go ahead and go in that direction, you will find yourself believing, because or even if you don't, if your faith falls short, but your actions go ahead and show that you do believe, you're very much part of what is accepted by God, which is what is good. You're not destructive. If you have a destructive tendency, toxic, if you're there's sexual pervert, whatever the case is. If you repent from those things, that's God acknowledges that. It's a major change. I mean, like most people that we meet and know, like the person we see when they're young, in their 20s, like the defects that we see in them, they're not going to change. They just get worse with age. It's not a rare occasion, but it's a lesser occasion that you actually see that like this person actually changed for real, and this person actually is like this. This is they made sort of like a stereotypical theme about it, or a cliche theme about it. But that the idea that person has like a personality problem or something, and then finally go ahead.
Do you think you could be wrong?
About good and evil, and that there's very much righteousness matters. There's meaning to everything that's here on earth and out there beyond that.
No.
There's a God.
Specifically, could you be wrong that the Christian God is true?
Well, I don't have any literal proof, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it actually is true on many levels.
Could you be wrong?
What am I going to say? So, am I going to be absolutely disagreeable and say no? Yeah. Of course, I can be wrong, dude. I mean, we're talking about something. It's yeah, of course, I could be wrong, but the thing is that as far
Can I interject
as
for a moment?
yeah, sure, go ahead.
When you say something like, what do you think what am I going to say? And you kind of acted like it was even weird to ask that question, but I don't know how often you've heard a lot of these discussions or interactions between Christians and atheists, but that's not something that's a given, Actually, most of the Christians on here say that they could not be wrong. So I understand that you might be like thinking that's not a fair question or frustrated with it, but most of the Christians on here say that they can't be wrong.
Okay, well, I mean,
You probably just didn't know that, right? Yep. Go ahead.
well, dude, I mean, I'm not going to be just absolutely just what's it called? Oh, hello, Avi.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
How was your time over there with Warren and Jack Burton?
It was fine. I'm just really disappointed that they won't consider, converting and going to heaven. Quite sad.
Yeah, they had like absolutely just no effort to consider the idea that there's greater expressions out there of well, first of all, I mean like of intelligence, and that there's greater expressions of good, and the bad news that there's greater expressions of evil, the greater expressions of evil, but they both exist though. They absolutely do.
Yeah.
Are you similarly frustrated with me?
I think that the devil works really hard, and I'm really sad that, they've given into his charm.
I'm not frustrated with you, dude. Quite frankly, I, I don't I don't really know what it is you're trying to engage with me as far as a conversation. I mean, with him, I understood that he's running a show, so he needs to kind of keep it quick, and he has all these people listening, so it's like you know um, he needs to keep it entertaining, interesting. He needs to keep it interesting and entertaining, and
But I guess my point is that, when you say, oh, he's not open to it, I mean, you're kind of implying that, like, he ought to have been open to something that you said. He should have been compelled by things that you said, and he wasn't, right?
no, not compelled, just agreeable, just like there's a sense of like, okay, well, touche, you got a bit of a point on that one, or a good
Right, he
discussion.
should have been compelled to concede things, right, by virtue of the power of your argument or something like that, right?
Right, and
The things that you said should have compelled him to agree, because in your eyes, what you said justifies him to now change his mind, right?
the only thing that I expected from him was to go ahead and meet me halfway on just agreeing on some of the things that we're talking about. But for the most part, if I start going ahead and actually saying something that is like there's some leniency towards my favor, because the he can the audience can tell that there's something about what, like there's some knowledge, some wisdom, or there's something about what I'm saying that's actually something to ponder. It's interesting. It's valid. It's relevant. It's just not the answer, but definitely, the audience thinks the audience agrees. The audience thinks that something is like, well, this guy brought some good material on stage, and he just stays quiet. He just stays quiet.
If someone doesn't agree that you brought good material, then they're lying.
No. It's just that whenever it got to that point where it's like I'm actually tugging a little bit on the audience actually giving me some favor as to, yeah, like he has a point. That point he has like no interest of actually is like carrying.
What was that point? That point that they should have conceded to.
He just skips over it. But I can see that for the most part, dude. You're not actually like genuinely trying to have a conversation with me. So
you don't.
What do y'all hear they're talking about now here? Hello?
Well, I'll be back, man. I gotta go and see if this guy is actually on stage right now, because I want to see what he's gonna say.
What's that their topic of conversation now here? I see that their P. Mars changed his name to Jesus Hates Me.
I sure did.
Now, are you trying to make fun of the way I'm speaking there, son?
Yeah, I was. You caught me.
That's not nice there.
Okay.
They got recorded, so it's just not trying to speak normal.
Dude,
Hey,
Tom left.
Yeah. That guy's a God hater, by the way, and he records people, so
Yeah,
FYI.
I was recording him. Recording other people.
Are you recording now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were telling those other guys that you didn't record people there.
In that server, yeah.
Bro, why do that? You some kind of like Jew or something there?
I don't know. Tom Rabbits records everything Darth Dawkins does, so I thought I'd record him. See how he likes it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've also tried recording some stuff, and I was pretty I was pretty new at this, but I could probably do it now. So, who records people, by the way, and for what reason?
I'm just a live streamer on YouTube. I don't really record people.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, so some of this stuff is actually interesting. It's not bad to go ahead and just put it on YouTube
Yeah, just like the conversations about God put on YouTube, and I don't know, like some people don't like that. I guess I don't know. People just hate me, so.
people just hate you.
Yeah, they hate me.
And who are these people?
Everyone.
Okay. Well, I don't hate you.
Well, you gotta get to know me, then you will.
Okay. Well. All right. Well, yeah, dude. It's like, I mean, there's plenty of people already. Just, I mean, just you know, just
The fuck is this guy saying? This guy.
shit posting all over. Actually, that's not even the word. Diluting the name of God and Jesus and everything. And I mean, if you or anybody else is going to go ahead and make a recording and try to put a YouTube video on, like, somehow being, get anti God or something like that, against God, dude, it's already been done. Because everyone's doing that.
I'm a Christian.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, your name is kind of quizzical, so.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to talk about there's a channel, voice chat here called Bible Study, and there were some Christians in there talking about the Bible, and I joined and I wanted to like talk about the Bible with them, and they all like treated me like garbage, like they hated me.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, you were there?
I can vouch for this guy though. He definitely is a Christian. Like, I'm an atheist and we've gotten into it a few times, so.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I was there. I was there. I forgot what exactly it is that you brought up.
I said the Epistle of James admonished wealthy rich people or whatever, and then I also talked about the dispute between James and Paul. That's all I did, and they're all
right, and
they're all like, "Screw this guy! Let's go to this other room where I have mod powers." And like 4 people left.
Well, because what you're describing doesn't sound very familiar from the Gospels, dude. I mean, or the epistles. Like I'm trying to think of like what you're talking about, and there might be like something in there that is relevant to what you're talking about, but for the most part, I don't know what it is you're talking about. I've never heard that.
Oh, with Paul and James.
Paul and James, yeah, Paul and James having a falling out.
Well, I can read
now. Peter and Paul had a falling out.
Mm-hmm. I'm not familiar with that, but I think I kind of know what you're talking about. I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, like Peter, something about like Peter would sit with the Gentiles and the people that have not been converted or believed, and then whenever the like his people and everything shut up, he was kind of like embarrassed or like ashamed of being seen with the Gentiles and so I mean, but basically he wasn't, he was kind of like,
Okay, I remember. Yeah, I remember this. He just he was hanging out. It's like lunch table stuff. Like you got to hang out with the in crowd or whatever. And then Paul admonished Peter because he was like, yeah, he's being like cliquey, I guess, right? Like he refused.
yeah,
he's yeah.
But basically he was trying to get in good with the Gentiles, and in today's standards that we can go ahead and describe it to something that we can go ahead and just easily just put it as a metaphor of some sort. I mean, he was to a degree trying to be a scene kid.
Shout out to Bond.
Shout out to Punk.
Yeah. Well, Martin Luther, I got this because I did some research after everyone was like told me I was a jerk or whatever. And apparently Martin Luther, he had a similar thing. It says Martin Luther had strongly critical opinions of the Epistle of James, as he saw it in conflict with Paul's message of salvation by faith alone. And he wrote, let's see here. The epistle is, this is Martin Luther, right? He said, the epistle is flatly against St. Paul and all the rest of Scripture in ascribing justification to works. It says that Abraham was justified by his works when he offered his son Isaac, though in Romans 4, St. Paul teaches to the contrary that Abraham was justified apart from works by his faith alone before he had offered his son, and proven by Moses in Genesis or whatever, so... That's Martin Luther. So he's saying the same thing I was saying, and they all acted like I was like a heretic or something. But it was just Martin Luther said the same thing. So
I think maybe they got confused as to what you were talking about, and they thought you were just trying to derail the conversation some way. I mean, but I mean, for the most part, just try having another conversation with them, and be a little bit more sure about the Scripture and everything, or just have a conversation. But for the most part, everyone here I've noticed is either a jerk or they.
yeah.
They give you chances. They give you chances, man. People
Well,
here give
wait,
you chances.
isn't the Bible study like the concept of a Bible study to learn more about the Scripture? Like, it seems kind of. I mean, I don't even know why I'm defending this guy, because I don't really give a fuck. But that just seems a little bit counterintuitive. Someone tried to join Bible study, and you're like, well, next time you should know more Scripture first.
They called me a troll. I was trying to talk about the Bible.
Yeah, they thought you were a troll. I mean, dude, in this server, that's it's a very complex.
I was trying to learn about Spooky's right. I joined to because I want to talk about the Bible and learn about the Bible, and then they're like, hey, you must quote Scripture to defend your claim. And then when I can't, they're like, ha ha ha, I am the best Christian because I know Scripture better than you. I have won this battle.
No.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit shocked because this guy's always in the chats defending Christianity.
That's not what it was, dude. That's not what it was.
That's what it was from my perspective, sir.
Okay, well, do you want me to tell you what it was?
Well, I mean, you can't tell me. I'm allowed to subjectively experience it the way I want, right? Like,
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and tell you what it
can't
was,
tell
man.
me my subjective experience is wrong.
Okay, just let me go ahead and make this one statement. You went ahead and joined the chat room, and your name is your username is your name is Jesus hates
No,
me.
it was
So
I changed it after they all hated me because I felt hated by Jesus after that conversation.
what was your name before that?
It was anathema.
Anathema.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Well, I remember seeing Jesus hates me,
I
but
changed it to Jesus hates me right after that conversation because I felt so hated by Jesus after those Christians did that.
well, don't feel hated by Jesus, and quite frankly, like give them another chance. They'll certainly give you another chance. If you'd like, I'm gonna go here and chill out with these dudes. If you like, you're welcome to join me.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I tried, bro.
They're like, you need to know more about Scripture before you join a Bible study. What is that?
I know. like what the fuck? Like, normally I feel like you're kind of like, we always butt heads, but like even like that to me is just blatantly fucking stupid. Like,
I butt heads with you, really?
yeah. I think so. I mean, I just remember I recognize the profile picture, like not like hella much, but I recognize your profile picture, and I feel like we've gotten into it a couple times, or maybe
No,
I don't know.
I don't really like get into it. I just like talking about love and the Bible and stuff. I don't really care if people.
Or maybe not gotten into it, but like we're
I'm not
usually on the opposite end of an argument. But like that was stupid as fuck. Like,
maybe if it was about politics or something, maybe then. But like about
yeah,
if
maybe.
it's about like God, like I don't care if people are. I don't try to change people's. I don't try to evangelize the atheists or anything like that.
No, yeah. I mean, I've definitely gotten into some political arguments on the server, so that might be it. Or maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know. Tom, do you know what the fuck the guy just told him? It was so stupid. He was just like, next time before you come into the Bible study chat, you should know more scripture. What the fuck is Bible study for then?
Yeah, I didn't even catch that till you said that. I was like, I watched a lecture, right? And it was a guy talking about it was called Lost Christianity, and it was just talking about like the early church. Like he was talking about James's church, Paul's church, the Gnostics, and this Marcion church. He's just about the history, and he mentioned this conflict between Paul and James. I thought it was interesting. I just wanted to like talk about it with some Christians. That's all. And then they just were all like, I don't know, called me a troll. Because I couldn't quote scripture to support, because I watched a lecture. I didn't get it. I didn't like read the Bible and come up with this idea. I got it from a lecture. So when they asked me to
oh yeah, that's what it was. It's like that you just went ahead, like they asked you what was your source, and you said like a YouTube video.
Yeah, I watched a lecture.
Yeah, dude. Just give it another try, man. It'll be fine.
It's so weird though. It's like
don't think that these people are hateful, dude. Like, I mean, for the most part, like we're trying to have usually we're trying to have like a legitimate like conversation about Jesus and the message and the principles and all that. And usually we get interrupted, and someone tries to go ahead and come in and just like,
talk about
make stupid of the whole situation, basically.
Why don't they just make it so that channel is only open to people with the one of the various Christian roles.
No, I
Like-
was, but that's the thing. I was going in there talking about the Bible, and they just called me a troll.
No, I know, but I mean, like, if this is such a prevalent issue,
Oh, right.
like,
All right,
I've
fair
never
enough.
gone into that chat because I'm not interested in a Bible study. You know what I mean?
It's
But like,
it's just
that's a
it's
predominant issue.
it's flat out not true that most of the Christians here are here to talk about, Jesus and fellowship and, learn more. That's just false.
Some of us are. I mean, I've met plenty of people here who are actually, and between us, we can actually, speak about it. But, I mean, occasionally there's some issues with denomination stuff.
I mean, I'll just be frank. I mean, I listen here pretty much every single day, and most of what the Christians discuss are trying to pwn atheists. And when there are not any atheists around to try and pwn, they'll just try to pwn each other on like what doctrine they're wrong about, whether that be Calvinism
Yeah.
or whatever.
It's intellectual
Well-
vanity. Like, they think they're good because they're not like sexually pleasuring themselves, but then they're intellectually pleasuring themselves. It's the same thing. It's like it's all about pleasure, whether it be intellectual or a drug or whatever.
Right. It's just simply a vessel for them to get their dopamine hit.
Exactly.
You're exactly right.
Yeah, I guess they told him before coming to Bible study to know his scripture better. I was like, what's Bible study for then?
Yeah, well, yeah, I watched a lecture and it talked about the Bible, right, and Christianity and history, and I wanted to like talk about it with other Christians, and then
Although to be fair, it's like this server from my, I'm sure that like if I ever join a VC and there's like a purely religious discussion going on, like unless it's maybe covering a topic that I am genuinely curious about the interpretation of or something, I'll maybe occasionally like just kind of listen in and not interject because like I don't know shit about it from like a religious perspective. Like, my main knowledge on religious things is in Judaism because I was raised Orthodox. But
hello, Spooky.
Hey.
Yeah. The thunder just like hit and knocked my internet out, so I got to be on the cell phone.
Oh, for sure.
No. Like, okay. Like, first of all, like a lot of these people, a lot of these guys have been on the server for like years. So for them, it's just like break room, chit chat, and getting very chummy. And part of the issue is that, yeah, I mean, there's been an ongoing, battle of discussion with the atheists for the longest time, and
I mean, isn't that kind of what the server is for?
I really wish that there was some more diplomacy to the whole thing. I mean, we could actually sit down and discuss, our views and.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
not. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, at the end of the day, certainly I can agree that there are conversations that get way the fuck out of hand, and when they don't need to, right? Like, there is a way to discuss these things that doesn't have to be uncivil. But
I'm
ultimately,
not really sure. I'm actually not really sure that's if I believe you, because I attempted to have a civil discussion with you, and you just told me that I was being disingenuous.
you're kind of cutting out a little bit for me. I don't know if that's just me though.
You told me that. Go ahead, end of summer.
Who's talking right?
Tom Mobile.
Okay.
Is that what you interrupted for? End of summer?
No.
You're cutting out a bit, I think.
I thought it was Jesus hates me, or Jesus.
Okay, I'll just repeat it. Okay, so when you said that you wish that there was a place where people could like have more diplomacy and have discussions about atheism versus theism. I question whether or not that's really true because I thought that's what we were doing, and I don't think I really interrupted you maybe at all. Let you go on. I asked my questions, genuinely trying to understand what made you believe in Jesus.
Oh,
And in the end, you told me that you didn't think I was genuine. You ended the discussion and told me that I wasn't interested in actually finding out what you believe. So I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Okay. All right.
So
Well,
when you say that you wish that this place could have civil discussions, you had an opportunity to have a civil discussion, right? And you didn't take it.
okay. Well, if that was like your
Call it
only chance that you're gonna give me to actually, you know, carry a conversation, dude, it's like this is a Discord server. There's no reason to go ahead and start having resentment towards other people.
No, I don't have resentment. I just don't believe you when you say that's what you're interested in. Because when that was presented to you and right in front of you, you pushed it away. So what do you think I'm being irrational in thinking that's not really what you're interested in? Seems like I'm being perfectly rational.
Okay, well, go ahead, man. I agree.
Right. So you're not interested in actually having discussions about this. So don't say that.
No, I am.
Since you agree with me, don't say that you are interested in it.
No, I am.
No, you just agreed with me that you're not.
Not cordial ones. He wants a lot of banter and stuff.
Banter?
I'm just kidding.
What did I do earlier that wasn't cordial?
You know, I've had people approach me before where it's like kind of just more like just asking questions to see where they can go ahead and like you know, assign some kind of blame like about my character or something like that, and you know, it's this is politics and religion, dude. I mean, there's going to be people who are looking for a way to go ahead and start judging your character, and you know, I said that, and if I offended you, I apologize. And
what did I do that wasn't cordial?
Yo, since you guys are
quite frankly, dude, like I don't think it's an issue, dude. Like we can just like, you know, continue the conversation. It's like my bad, you know.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yo, I want to come out with a claim. There's no such thing as an atheist.
What's your definition of an atheist?
Someone who doesn't believe in God. I think the more important question is how do we define God? Because the way I define it, I mean, everybody acts in a way that's in accordance with God.
If everyone acts in a way that's in accordance with God, then how do you know what isn't acting in a way that's in accordance with God?
The thing is that like every time you choose to do a good thing, you're acting as if God exists. I mean, you have a moral compass, and that guides you in your decision making, and something's at the head of that moral compass, and that's your God for all intents and purposes.
Well,
so when people torture babies, that's acting in accordance with God?
Well, that's acting in accordance with the devil, which is another religious idea. I'm just saying you can't divorce religiosity from human life.
When someone does something like that, I mean, they completely cut off their connection and their presence to God. It won't make itself apparent immediately because we live in a physical world, but those kind of things have ramifications where that person will start feeling the complete presence, the complete absence of God's presence, and they'll have to make decisions about what's gonna happen.
Actually, that I don't really think that sort of justice exists because there's no just. I mean, look, there's nothing that can't just be completely overlooked after repenting and asking for forgiveness, right?
Well, dude, like if someone's torturing babies, God isn't going to just straight up forgive them just because they asked for it.
Yes, he will. Yeah, he will if
he will, but
right, he will, right?
Not immediately. I mean, it could be on their deathbed, and after they've endured the consequences and the revealing of what their actions have actually transpired for their
doesn't matter
for their lives.
I mean, God doesn't have some sense of justice about torturing babies. In fact, he doesn't really care at all, it seems, because I mean not in a sense of he really only seems to care about whether or not you accept him and believe in him, right?
Okay, so referring to God as a he is a very childish thing to do.
I think the reason that we generally do that is because that's how we hear people do that.
That's that's too simplistic.
Okay.
I mean, what pronoun is preferable to you?
God doesn't have a sex, okay? Because he is
really because I grew up thinking that the Father implied a sex, but maybe
okay. Do you understand what the Lord Almighty means?
Wait, but you just said God doesn't have a sex because he.
Dude, okay. I'm gonna ask the question. Do you understand what the Lord Almighty means?
Well, I think we can all understand conceptually that God isn't the same as a human, right? To ascribe some sort of malice just because an atheist uses he versus a theist using he, I don't think is appropriate. There's no necessary malice there.
Do you know what? Do you know what
preferred pronouns, and father appears to be one of them.
I'm gonna go ahead and ask you again. Okay. Do you know what the Lord Almighty means?
Most people know that means. Are you making a point?
Yeah, that dude just kind of jumped
on.
Yeah,
just go straight to your point because most people know intuitively what that means.
Come on, man. You asked me a question, I'll go.
Yes, people know what it means. Please get to your point because the question's kind of pointless. People know intuitively what it means.
So far, I'm here, dude. And
why don't you give us the answer because I'm not sure what you're looking for.
Okay. How about we actually make an effort to be somewhat agreeable? And
I'm not trying to be disagreeable, but you're asking atheists if they know what the Lord Almighty means.
I'm asking you a question.
We are we're being agreeable so much so to the point where we're just saying whatever you say you mean by it, we accept it and we'll use it.
Well, okay.
It means master, the person who can control, the person who is the authority, all of that.
Okay, the Lord Almighty, dude. That wasn't it. I mean, God is definitely the master and all that. Yes, but the Lord Almighty means the Lord all powerful. Okay.
So you're asking what mighty means,
Right. I mean, most people think it's like okay, yeah. So it's the Lord all powerful, dude. So I mean, of course he's going to be referenced as a masculine figure because he has such strength to do he has such power. I mean, and And so this is representative of a male figure.
Yeah, that's all. I don't even disagree with anything you said. Like, I just I don't know why there's this sort of negative intent ascribed to Tom, or I think it was towards Tom specifically, for using the word he in like just a sentence where we're referring to God, when that's how pretty much everyone would refer to God. It's not like that was done to like undermine God or something.
No, I didn't say it was done to undermine God. I'm just saying it's too simplistic to think as God as a man in this country. That's like a first grade view of God, and it's totally wrong and based in superstition and everything else.
So what's your preferred pronoun or whatever that we would refer to God by?
Well, I think of God in terms of evolution, for example. I mean, I subscribe to the Jordan Peterson.
Right, but I mean, like, as far as using something, what, do we only say the word God, or is there anything that's like a shorthand or something?
I mean, you could even say he. That's fine. I mean, I just hope when I hear you say he, the reason I cringe at that is because if you're thinking of God as some man in the sky, then we have serious problems here. We're not even on the same level of analysis.
But that appears to be what's authorized by Scripture that refers to him as a holy or heavenly Father. And Jesus saying, "You have seen me, has seen the Father." So I think people would be pretty authorized, at least based off of what's been revealed in the text,
right?
In using
the text isn't to be taken literally; it has to be read in context. It has to be.
Wait, so you're saying not even using the pronoun he is to be taken literally, like?
Yeah, it's not to be taken literally.
Well, of course it's not.
Like you're trying to work in some other stuff in the Bible.
Okay,
you're trying to work in stuff in the Bible. The danger of not being biblically Christian, so that's going to be a bit of a problem.
Okay, well, that dude. I mean, you're taking your notes from Jordan Peterson, so I think like you're pretty way off. I think you got to get a bit closer to the actual sources. Or people who
these problems. He's not Christian. He's more of a globalist leftist. Who's gonna?
Yeah, dude. Like I mean, that guy's rhetoric is actually pretty weak. Like I try to like watch his videos, and there was like at least maybe one that was pretty good about like taking responsibility and not falling short as like an immature infant who never grows up,
But that's the metaphor of Jesus Christ. I mean, picking up your cross and struggling uphill and finding meaning. I mean, that's as Christian as it gets. It doesn't get more Christian than that.
Look, you're talking to people who don't think these were metaphors. Do you understand that?
Well, that's because they're
historical events and actual things that occurred. So it's more than just a literary metaphor that we can choose to accept or reject or throw away. It's something that.
By the way, Pythasis, did you say Jordan Peterson is a globalist leftist? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Vox Day exposes him in his book Jordanetics. He talks about his occult ties and all that other stuff. He tells Christians and other people to watch out for him because he's not what he's been hyped up to be on.
Yeah, those are all
definitely not a leftist. I would certainly not call him a leftist.
Just read Jordanetics. It's a pretty interesting take on him.
Jordan Peterson barely adopted
I know he did work for the UN a long time ago.
Yeah, there are some links there. He's worked for like leftist think tanks and stuff like that, and he tends to take a watered down kind of philosophical take on the scripture that is very
well, yeah, he's not. Yeah. Hold on, but that's just he's not like. I don't think he's a practicing Christian.
He's not.
And also, he's like a professor, or was. I don't know what he is now.
Yeah.
But like, of course, that will have almost necessarily some overlap with like think tanks or something that might be left leaning. But like
the thing. And we don't have to judge people too harshly, but you can tell a lot by a man by the way that his family is run. His daughter was, on drugs. She did, cure herself of her whatever she had or something like that.
What are you talking about?
His daughter was on drugs.
Her family looks a little out of order. She was doing like, selfies with her baby in the background.
What does that have to do with him, though?
Selfish
Yeah.
with what?
The father of the
what
household
in
and
the
for
background?
Christians. That tells you a lot about.
What was in the background?
She did like Instagram pics of her in her bikini with her baby in the background. Like, oh, don't mind me and my baby. I'm just taking some Instagram selfies and that.
I didn't
It's
even
kind
realize
of
she had a baby, but I mean,
and
I
that
think
sort
this
of
is
train wreck is kind of telling, possibly. But anyway, no judge. Just saying, you can tell a lot about a man by the way that his family is run.
Wait, so none of that was supposed to be a judgment?
Just saying.
Sounds exactly like this guy's literally delusional.
I guess so, kind of.
I would say his love of Carl Jung kind of tells a lot more about his personality than that stuff.
Fair.
What's wrong with
Bad love
Carl
in this aspect,
Jung?
and he talked
What's wrong
about
with
his.
Carl Jung?
Dude, Carl Jung, he's kind of funny because it's like
Bit dark.
yeah, like and all the abstractions of just like the psyche and stuff like that. It's like, dude, it's not that. I mean, it's definitely better than Freud. I'll give him that.
I don't know.
Well, to be at least
it's a little
Freud
bit. It's
never-
wackier. It's wackier. It's what it is.
I mean, yeah,
Jordan
yeah.
Peterson fanboys are always just the most interesting. That like they actually think that like, oh, the things he says are so deep. It's hilarious.
He never actually makes any. He never he always kind of leads you up to the brink of whatever he's trying to get at, but he never like gives you the final kind of, I don't know how to say
point.
it.
The point.
He does give you the point all the time.
Can you give me an example of a point that he makes succinctly?
Live a meaningful life. If you want to overcome the suffering that's inherent in life, you have to live a meaningful life.
That's very broad.
Yeah, it's still a point though. You just said he doesn't make points. Yeah, that's fine. We could
Good
debate
question.
about that. It depends on the
No, but
person.
does Jordan Peterson tell you what a meaningful life is, or like
book
to get what you
What is
want
meaning?
or to be a productive citizen of society appears to be the general gist of whatever the hell they're talking
yeah,
about.
I mean, like it seems like the most sort of direct, I don't know, lesson to be taken away from Jordan Peterson is to clean your room, which like for sure, like that's helpful. Like I guess, you know, if someone doesn't like do it, bro, but like I don't beyond that, I've never really seen him like go all the way there with whatever point he's sort of hinting at very strongly.
You're just not listening hard enough.
I have a lot more empathy for lobsters now, though.
That's the reason why I don't like him, because it's like I patiently wait while he's giving his lecture, and it's like eventually kind of sort of touches on like what he was talking about, and it's like this vague not even a point. It was kind of like
just like a platitude almost.
Yeah, he just kind of like brushed by it for a moment, and then like kind of just like went his way. Like, what the fuck was that? I watched it for 30 minutes.
Give me an example, and I'll
Jay whips the dude a new one. He says that the dude is mentally unstable and definitely on drugs. And he says that he's probably into the occult when he talks about automatic writing with his pen of light and stuff. So I really would recommend that you look at that book.
Well, that's Jungian.
It's conspiracy theory. It's all conspiracy.
I don't believe any of that stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did get a chance to see a really good sermon by this guy who I just barely took interest in. His name is Chuck Baldwin, and he used to have a syndicated radio show, national radio show, and was a conservative pastor. He became very unpopular and lost his radio show after George W. Bush became president, because he was what's called criticizing them about, you know, like taking us to war and stuff, or taking the U.S. to war, or taking us to war, and you know, he gave this sermon about maybe about a month ago, which was he made some really good points. I mean, first of all, he very well described gave me some understanding of Ezekiel, because like that was the most like mysterious book for me. I didn't understand what that was about at all, and he was making it like the whole comparison of like the injustices in what it's saying there is like it's just like a perfect, not a perfect reflection, but it's a perfect reflection of today. And he goes on to say it's like there was conspiracy back in the days of the Old Testament, and he goes ahead and says like do you really believe that after thousands of years since this time where there was conspiracy against the real prophets of God by the false ones.
What are you talking about?
Well, the what do you call it? The reign of Ahab and Jezebel and how that really fucked things up afterwards. So he says like, do you really believe that after thousands of years, man just suddenly became so holy, through evolution? He goes there and makes a joke about evolution, but man has become so holy that they no longer what's it called? They no longer not practice, but
look,
worship.
I don't think anyone is following what you're talking about. And I'm just gonna say it just for the sake
I was
of
getting to
it.
it. I was getting to it. So holy that men no longer get involve themselves in evil conspiracies. And then he goes.
Proponent of the whole like one world order JQ shit, right?
He goes on.
Basically saying that 2,000 years ago they're making conspiracy theories and they're still doing it today. Yes, you're right.
He goes on to say, you have to be a blooming idiot to not believe that there is not that there is not a conspiracy against the truth. Like if you're a Bible teacher, if you're a pastor, if you're someone who is searching for the truth, you got to be a blooming idiot to believe that there is not a conspiracy against the truth.
And doesn't he all kind of like appeal to the JQ and like
No. He doesn't even mention all this stuff.
No,
He
didn't. He shies away from it. Actually, if you touch the JQ in any way, shape, or form, you tend to get buried in the media.
What's the JQ?
And then one person in the audience asked him something that was JQ related, and he said, "I'm not going to touch that." So I don't see the evidence of what you're talking about.
This is short for the Jewish question.
Yeah, it's like this whole. It's kind of this conspiracy theory that like the Jews are basically secretly, running the world in some sense. Like, and there's a lot of appeals to like the Rothschilds or like other rich Jewish people, like basically controlling the whole. All the media, all of whatever.
How did Jordan Peterson touch the JQ?
No, we're not talking about Jordan Peterson.
That's like Owen Benjamin would touch, or Jordan Peterson. That's
Jordan Peterson. I don't know. I don't think he's touched the JQ. We're talking about Chuck Baldwin.
He's pretty milquetoast and staged, so I don't see how Jordan Peterson has anything to do with that at all. But
did you hear what I said at all?
We were talking about Jordan Peterson, weren't we? Did we move on to another?
No, we're talking about Chuck Baldwin.
Yeah, this guy's just an idiot, dude. Don't listen to him.
Who the fuck is Chuck Baldwin?
Did you say that I'm an idiot?
Never mind.
No, I'm talking about this Fissilus guy.
Hey,
Fissilith.
Pithecus?
That's it.
I think he's pretty cool. I like Pithecus.
By the way, I'm curious. Is this Jim Majors the person who was on Modern Day Debate a while ago?
Who?
Is this Jim Majors?
Possibly. I've been on there quite a bit, so more than likely it's me. Yeah.
Do you have an answer for how it is that there is no God?
Cringe.
Which God?
Hey, Robin, have you formulated a syllogism for your argument yet?
Nope.
Which God?
Jim, I'm asking you a question. You're an
I'm
atheist,
aware I'm
right?
asking for
Keep in
clarification.
mind, Jim Majors,
Jim,
the question that
Jim, you're
he's
an atheist.
the question
Jim,
that
you're an
he's
atheist, right?
actually
Please don't
asking.
overtalk me. Please don't
Oh
overtalk
my
me.
goodness.
The
James,
question that he's
Jim,
actually.
Jim,
We heard you.
Jim,
We heard
Jim,
you.
you're an
You're
atheist,
just
right?
filibustering. We heard you.
Jim, you're an
You
atheist,
can't
right?
accuse people of overtalking you when you
Jim,
ask
you're
a
an
question.
atheist,
You just
right?
keep asking.
Jim, you're an atheist, right?
When you guys figure it out,
Yeah, can somebody mute him, please?
Jay,
Yeah, Jim,
Robin,
Jim, you're an atheist, right?
what did Jim Majors do that you're like just doing this to him?
No, I just saw him in the room, and I was
He's an atheist.
surprised to see him, and then I asked him if he's a real deal, and he says that yeah, he is. So I'm curious as to if he can defend the proposition that there's no God. I don't have anything personal against him at all. I just saw him.
Robin, do you have an argument that God exists?
You
Like
saw me
in
on
the
modern
premise
day.
So Jim,
You asked me about
So you
God.
tell me. I don't want to overtalk you, so I'll just talk when you're done. Go ahead, finish
yeah,
up,
good.
J-Rob.
Yeah, Okay, Jim. So you're an atheist, right?
Okay, cool. So,
Jim, you're an atheist,
Jim Majors, Jim Majors. The question
Jim.
he's actually asking
Jim, you're an
is
atheist,
he-
right?
You're,
Jim, are
you
you an
can't
atheist?
accuse me of overtalking if you're just
not responding.
He didn't answer my question.
Yeah, that's fine.
Jim,
But
are you going
you
to
can't
engage?
accuse people of
Are you going
overtalking
to
if you're just
engage?
saying the same thing to try
Yo,
and
one
coach
at
you.
a time.
Are you an
I'm
atheist?
gonna
No,
mute
I'm
you.
waiting for him
Gotta
to
let
answer
other
the question,
people
Tommy.
Hey,
No,
Robin.
listen. Okay,
Hey, Robin,
no,
it's a public room. Like, you
Bean.
don't have to
So maybe
do
you weren't tracking. I asked Jim a question.
Stop with the Darth Dawkins nonsense, Jay Robin. There's many people in here talking.
Jim, I'll just tell you what the question he's actually asking is because he doesn't.
Jim, are you an atheist?
How are you, Blue Master?
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Thank you.
Wait, is Jay Robin a room owner
Why
in here?
did Tom get muted?
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah,
They
I mean,
both
he-
got muted at the same
okay,
time.
Is Jay Robin a room owner in here? That's all I need to know.
It must have been
No,
Merrill.
he's not. No, he's only a room
Yo,
owner.
please. Okay, you guys. Okay.
In,
So I'm not a room owner. If anybody is a room owner, I'll gladly step back. I'm not power hungry, I promise. The reason why I muted people was just so that way I could say one at a time. Because I was trying to say that just because everybody, well, not everybody, but 3 people were over talking each other seemingly constantly. And I was just like, it kind of was getting chaotic, and I'm just like, I'll gladly
Okay.
unmute people, no worries. But I was just
Okay,
like,
that's not.
it was
I'm
just
going
to
to tell
say
you.
something.
I'm waiting for you to finish.
Okay,
It's not
that
fair
was
to tell me.
That was literally it.
Flip Master.
It's
What?
not fair to tell me or to accuse me.
Can you mute me? Can you mute me?
Why would I mute you?
Yeah, I got you. I got you,
All
buddy.
right, dude, look, it's not fair to accuse me of over talking Jay Robin when he's literally just saying the same thing over and over to filibuster, right?
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
I was just saying y'all were over talking like each other. Like it was like, as if one wasn't talking. Like it wasn't
He asked-
not to just accuse you, not like that. But
He asked the
that's
question.
what it was.
I waited for him to finish answering his question. I then interjected, right? And the accusation, that's where the accusation of over talking occurred. It's because he kept saying the same question over and over. But that's not over talking.
Okay, well,
Just
that's how
tell.
that's how
It's fine. That's fine. Let's tell Jim. Just tell Jim what you were going to tell him, Tom. We can move on with this.
I'm gonna unmute Jay. I'm gonna unmute Jay Robin.
You can keep him
how
muted
about
until
you
Tom's
let me
done.
finish first, and then you can do that.
All right.
So, Jim Majors, the question that they always ask this question like this because
Jim
they
left,
actually
by the way.
Oh,
Jay Robin was successful.
Wait,
is a great singer. So Jim runs away like all the other atheists. Jim runs away like all the other atheists.
Wait, Jay Robin, I've got to go to work in 2 minutes. Can I just ask you one thing? So, I've been asking you this for like a couple of months now. I just was curious if you have a syllogism.
I told you I'm not. I told you.
I don't think you're going to present a syllogism, right? Because if you do, it's going to be blatantly question begging, right? But then you're going to say it's some virtuously circular or something. And I'm just wondering, what makes something virtuously circular, and how is it any less fallacious than
Bean, I've explained this. Bean, I've explained this to you already. Okay, I'm going to explain it to you one more time, and I'm going to make myself clear. Okay, and hopefully Tom is recording this so that you can listen back to this. So so that when he posts it on his YouTube channel, that you can listen to it, and before our next interaction, you can reflect on it, because I'm not going to repeat myself after this to you. Okay, so I told you in multiple so don't overtalk. I told you in multiple instances.
I just want premise conclusion.
All right, if you overtalk again one more time, then I'm never going to interact with you again. Okay.
Oh, coat more, Robin.
I'm throwing him.
So when we are talking, okay, there you go.
One is.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Right. So, Andricus, I actually heard this previous discussion. I waited for you to finish. Now I have to wait.
You don't have to wait. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was in the middle of speaking.
No, you weren't. Look, you know what? I'll just be great. I'll just let you finish, and then I'll just go after.
Speaking.
Okay. Well, thank you.
So I'm now.
Finish.
Okay. Yeah. So I made it clear to Bean that I was addressing his atheism on the basis of atheism on the basis of what he was talking about.
Stop
over talking. What is your problem? What is your problem?
They had a bad childhood. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, you need to turn back to Jesus Christ. Okay, the good news is still available to you. Okay, you're still alive. You're still breathing.
Wait a minute. Just let J. Robin finish. Let J.
He's not gonna finish. That's part of the problem.
Okay.
I've got to go to work in like 2 minutes. I just want an argument, like premise conclusion, and then I can go.
I told you that the denial of the Christian God. Okay, if you deny the Christian God, you're not going to have a worldview to stand upon to be critical about anything. I've made this clear already. Okay, and I've addressed the worldview that you held to, and we've established that you don't have a coherent worldview to stand upon.
So give us the argument, please. Give us the argument, J. Robin.
So stop over talking.
Well, no, we want an argument. You make the claim 80 times, you never give the argument.
Stop over talking. We've already established this. No. If you want to posit if you want to go ahead and give your argument for how it is the case that there is no God, I would love to hear it. Until then, just continue to bask in your incoherency, because we know that's what you want to do. You want to you relish in your incoherency and trolling tactics, and nobody's falling for it. Okay.
Well, what nobody's falling. Hold on, Bean. I got this. Nobody's falling for it. No, Bean. Hold on. We know what you're going to say, bud. Listen, J. Robin, you've made this claim. I know. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to get it done faster. J. Robin, you've made the claim 100 times that you can't have intelligibility without God as the foundation of your worldview. What's the argument? Please give us the argument.
Yeah, we've already went over this.
No, you haven't.
So premise one is
you never have.
Okay.
You never have.
So now you want me to respond. I'm going to respond without being overtalked.
Okay, go ahead.
What's the argument? Control yourself and mute your mic. Okay.
Hey, Robin, let me just say one thing to jail. I really do like your hosting style. It's pretty cool.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for interjecting with that, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
It was nicer than contention. Yeah.
I demonstrated, the incoherency of denying. I've just about had it with you. I've just about had it with you.
I probably need to mute half the room.
I'm going to punch a hole in my wall.
Just about had it.
I've explained this to you before. Premise 2 is
Bean, I'm not talking to you anymore. I already made this clear. I told you I'm not going to address you, so I'm addressing Andricus and his claim. I told you I'm cutting it off.
Andricus asked you the same question I did, right?
Okay.
We just want the argument.
Bean, why? So look. If talking to someone, it's like you're just talking to a brick wall at this point, because I'm not going to address what you're saying. Yeah.
So, Flute Master, do you remember 5 minutes ago where I said I graciously will let J. Robin speak?
So, Andricus.
Wait for my turn.
So, Andricus.
When's my turn?
So.
Okay, I was going to say let J. Robin finish, and then somebody else speak.
Hoping for an argument.
Nobody tell her we're talking.
Lord Trinity, don't say anything at all, please.
Huh?
Okay. I got to teach
Lord Trinity.
At the moment, so I'm going to teach mathematics.
Yeah,
take care, everyone. See ya.
What? You stop that, you.
Okay, Jay, please carry on.
Wait a minute, I just came in.
So I know. I think he missed it
already causing trouble.
we established, okay, that the denial of the Christian God will lead you to a worldview of incoherence and irrationality. We've already demonstrated this, and I've done so with you, Andricus, and I've done so with any other atheist who claim to come forward with the claim that God does not exist. So I've already demonstrated this. I've had dozens, hundreds of conversations, okay, in the past few months on the server. Okay, so yeah, I've already demonstrated the claim.
Okay.
All right,
So my response to you,
Andricus can respond, and then Tom Rabbit can go.
My response to you is no, you haven't. All you've done is made claims, and you've left out the primary argument that would establish that it's impossible to have intelligibility without God. You usually do this and then move into shifting the burden over to, and by the way, I'm an agnostic. So I know you love that, because I don't deny that some God isn't possible. I do deny the Christian God is possible, but that's an entirely separate argument. But I'd like to hear the argument. Please, everybody in the room is dying to hear the argument. How it is possible that we cannot have intelligibility without the Christian God.
Okay, and before you go, J. Robin, I know Tom Rabbit wanted to speak, so real quick, Tom Rabbit.
Yeah, well, he's not going to give the argument, but the last time I was actually listening to this conversation.
Because he's the God who created all of us. Simple.
Thanks for that addition, man. When J. Robin was asked to give the argument, he didn't actually give the argument. He just said reductio ad absurdum. And he kept insisting that he had given the argument when he never actually gave an argument. It would be like when Darth asked someone, what's the argument for why God does not exist? And me just saying modus ponens. It's laughable.
Without an argument. Nice.
Yeah, just saying the form of an argument. Absolutely laughable. And here, he's not going to give the argument. He's not going to give the argument again. Go ahead.
Okay, J. Robin, you can go.
Yeah, so we've already done. I made it clear already. We've demonstrated the incoherence of atheism. We've demonstrated the incoherence of non-belief. And if an atheist believes that they can rationally defend the proposition that there is no God, and tell us how that's the case, then they're welcome to step forward.
Robin.
Okay.
I did earlier.
No, JL, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
You failed. You crashed and burned miserably.
You're
other
getting away.
Do. You crashed and burned.
We're not letting him go. We're not letting him go.
J. Robin, I did earlier, and all you did was no. You responded to
don't take the bait. Don't
let
take
J.
the
Robin
bait.
finish. Let J. Robin finish.
Look, I'm not going to take much more of this. Okay.
J. Robin, I did earlier, and all you did was mute me.
So can someone mute JL, please? Can someone mute JL?
JL, please let J. Robin go. I don't want to mute anybody. I really don't.
Okay. Yeah. So I demonstrated the truth of the proposition that you cannot coherently, defend a non-belief in God. Okay. I demonstrated that. I demonstrated it then in the conversation that was referenced previous, and I demonstrated today, and I've demonstrated yesterday, and I'm going to continue demonstrating it for as long as I am debating on Discord and in other places. Okay, so yeah, it's definitely been demonstrated, the claim. Okay, so if
you have an argument or not,
believe it hasn't, if you believe in I just told you I demonstrated the claim. If you believe,
do you have an argument?
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish. If you believe that you can rationally defend the falsity of God, then I am all ears. Okay, until then, I'm going to tell you once again to repent, to believe in the gospel, turn to Jesus Christ. That is the good news that he has to offer. He is the only way of salvation, the only way to know and to be reconciled with God.
Okay.
Joe, you wanted to say something?
So I want to see if he.
I'm not really interested in engaging.
I want to see if he actually has a response to what I proposed earlier.
Something.
All right.
Yes,
just let Joe. Yeah, just let Joe.
So J. Robin, you assert that we cannot have facts, we cannot know anything if we have no grounding for anything if God does not exist, if there is no God. So I know for a fact, and it comports with reality, testing, predictive modeling, that if a human being does not drink water, that they will die from dehydration. This is an absolute fact of reality. I don't need to reference anything outside of that in order to understand this to be a fact.
JL, don't waste your time talking to me. I already told you. I gave you a chance earlier today.
I just presented a fact.
I
just presented a fact.
I am responding to you for probably the last time.
Would you stop it with all this?
J. Robin, I just presented you a fact that is not required God, that God is not necessary for.
I'm not going to be overtalked.
I can give an answer. I can give an answer.
I'm not going to be overtalked.
What's the argument?
I'm not going to be overtalked.
I'll give an answer to Andrew because
I'll let J. Robin go and then Binary Agent.
Okay, so I gave you a chance earlier today, JL, to act in a way that is adult, to act in a way that will show that you know how to conduct yourself in a normal human conversation, and you blew it again. Okay, you blew it. So
increased after that movie came out. Just like UFOs exponentially increased after every Close Encounters movie.
Humans are funny creatures when they do that stuff, for sure.
The number of people who say they've been abducted goes up every time a movie comes out about it, right? And every time the movies stop coming out, the numbers just trail off. Like for some reason, aliens only abduct people when there's a new movie out, right?
Would you believe that believing anything is a coping mechanism?
Sometimes.
When is it not?
I mean, that's too blanket a statement. I mean, it's a pragmatic response in many cases to a situation.
Medicine. Why do they keep lying? Dude?
And then if you get the shot, so what? You can still spread it. I mean, you're not safe, and then you're gonna get high.
for the Holy Communion,
get under like that. Yeah, like get your life figured out because it's ending in 2 minutes.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, no, I just found it fun. Like, yeah, because like now we know, like, yeah, if you're gonna get that one, there's really not much you're gonna do. But like, it's funny how
you've got just enough time to clear your browser history.
Yeah, to say goodbye to your cat and your family members.
Yeah.
But yeah, because like funny, because that was the joke of it. Like basically saying like, yeah, they like basically had this like propagate like any of that meant anything. Like, you know, like especially back then, like why were they joking to people like that, like crawling under a desk or anything like at the school was going to do anything for you? You're fucked if it happened.
Yeah. Well, the reason they did that is because it gave us a common experience to unify over.
Yeah, I am aware of that kind of tactic. Yeah. I mean, I understand that's like that, how that works. For like, yeah, you do feel more when you go through similar stress with people. You do
give you a state of affair that doesn't require God.
Okay, yeah, listen.
I just did that.
Then you just be begging the question. Okay, you're repeating the same claim without giving a defense for it. Okay.
Wait, but you haven't addressed it. Like you've been repeating.
You claimed. I didn't make a claim. Okay.
What?
Yes, you did.
You wouldn't want to do that, would you?
JL came forward and asked me to address a claim. I'm giving him one more chance to conduct himself like a civil human being. And he's claiming now that
how many
God
last chances
is not necessary. He's claiming that God
conducting myself as an adult.
He's claiming, not right now because you're over talking. He's claiming that God is not necessary for states of affairs to be actual. And I'm asking him to give the argument from which it would follow. Okay, hold on a minute. I'm asking him to give the argument from which it would follow that is actually the case. So what is the argument?
I don't need to give an argument. All I need to do is demonstrate.
You don't need to give an argument? You don't need to give an argument?
All I need to do is demonstrate it.
You don't need to give an argument? Okay.
Yeah, the idea is really simple.
You don't need an argument. So you don't
if you're
need
saying
an
that God is
necessary. I'm responding. I am responding to him.
All right, I'll just wait till he's done, and then I'll expect to not be interrupted.
Wait.
Sure.
So So you're telling me you don't need an argument?
I can demonstrate.
You don't need an argument.
I just said that. Stop repeating me. I said I don't need an argument when I can demonstrate.
Let me ask.
J. Robin, stop repeating yourself and stop repeating me. I said I don't need an argument because I can demonstrate it.
Okay.
I can demonstrate
an argument is a demonstration. Well, I don't know if you're.
I can also just give you the demonstration of depriving a human being of water.
It's just arguing inductive.
Listen. Demonstrate to me okay, how God is not necessary for a state of affairs to be actual.
I just gave you the example, J. Robin.
You just told me.
I don't need to reference God to understand that a human being will die from dehydration if they don't drink water.
Stop over talking. Okay.
Warren, this is your last chance.
You just told me.
Is this one my last chance? I wasn't sure.
You just
my last
told
chance
me.
3 last chances ago.
You just told me.
All right, just let J. Robin finish, and then I'll let Tom Rabbit go.
You just told me that God, or that you can
go in circles.
You just told me. You just told me.
Can I ask Captain Tom Rabbit?
Yeah, can we go to Tom? He's just repeating. You just told me. What is that?
You just because people are over talking. People are over talking. Look, we're gonna get some moderation. We need to get some moderation. We need moderation. We need servants. We need servants.
No, Flute Master. I am kind of angry. He just keeps asking me the same thing over and over again. We're going in circles. Let me pass it on to Tom. Because Tom may be able to make better sense.
So JL is not running away. No,
I'm not. I'm still here. I'm still here, but I'm not going in circles with you, J. Robin.
You're running away.
I'm still right here.
Which is ironic. Okay. That's ironic. Good. Then answer the question I'm positing.
I've already answered it.
He's answered.
I also have some levity to bring.
J. Robin, what are you trying to get at exactly, man?
Wait, one at a time, please.
Like, you guys are kind of just talking past each other because he gave you an answer, you don't accept it, but like at least like say why that doesn't work as an answer, or how that doesn't.
If I could finish speaking, then maybe we'll get to that point. Okay.
Well, maybe don't say you just told me like.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Good.
J. Robin, how about you refute what I said?
Yeah. Okay. So what you told me that you could invoke a state of affairs. That doesn't answer the question as to how it is the case that God is not necessary for that state of affairs to be actual. The fact that you're invoking a state of affairs, actual or otherwise, it doesn't follow from that unless you have an argument.
With you, baby. I love you.
Ipso facto, it doesn't follow from that God is not necessary.
What's the contradiction in the absence of God?
Can I come in?
That's what I was going to ask.
He'll never give the argument.
Yeah.
So the idea. Let me just. I'll just say it.
I want Tom Rabbit to go. I had a turn here.
Look, just be quiet.
Okay.
Flute. We're just going. J. Rob and I are just going in circles. He keeps asking me the same question.
I'll just go. Just all that's required is people to stop talking. That's it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
So. Including you, binary agent. Including
I had
you.
a turn there, though. I had a turn.
Okay.
Don't give a fuck. Listen.
I know you don't. That's your heart, though. Not mine.
Flute, can I come in?
Well,
I'm not appealing to you, Tom. I'm appealing to the moderators in here.
I'll let binary agent go right after Tom Rabbit, and then you can go.
Good.
All right. So the idea is that J. Robin is saying God is necessary, right? And he's saying, give me the argument for why God isn't necessary. But really, I mean, necessary is just going to be hashed out in terms of it could not be any other way, right? And as someone else was already pointing out, right, it just seems like it could be other ways because in virtue of other ways not entailing a logical contradiction. So really, we're just going back to the beginning where really J. Robin needs to establish why it is the case that it couldn't be any other way. And he won't do that.
Okay, so the question still is on the table. Jail Warren does not want to answer the question.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
is he
Yeah, he's this dishonest.
So when JL Warren wouldn't answer your
that binary agent.
Wow.
Yeah, it's binary's turn. It is binary's turn. Go ahead.
So yeah, I just respond to Andrew because kind of in jail too a little bit, but really it's the reason why the Christian God is the God. That's the God that created all of us. And here's the thing: I see the lights all men in each one of your eyes. You know, if I were to see your eyes, if I were to speak to you in person, I hear it now in your voices. The common thread, the common signature of our Creator. That's the Christian God of the Bible. Now also to answer JL about the water thing, look, you know it is true we need water a lot, right? A whole lot. And I must say that your beard would probably hold enough water to give somebody water for a week. Anyway, another accolades to your beard. There you go. I promised some levity. There it is. Carry on, guys.
Can I come in after?
Yes, you can go, Lord Trinity.
Okay, so check this out. So, JL, I just, for a few minutes, I thought about your argumentation, and I see that you have like three legs of a tripod you're working with. You have God being wait 1 second. I'll be very, very quick. You have God being an immaterial mind that's the source of everything, right? You have if you don't reference this God, your truth claims are irrational. Oh, sorry, are arbitrary. My mistake, that's your word, arbitrary. And you used to say that we're not capable of rationality without mentioning and focusing on this particular God. But you drop that rationality thing, the capability of rationality, you drop that. So I think you've been beaten up with that argument so many times, you've abandoned that. I want to go after the next leg of your tripod. I'm doing this systematically. I've been playing around before. Now, you said that truth claims without referencing this God are arbitrary. By definition, arbitrary is something that's based on a whim. It's not grounded in a system. It's random. If someone comes to you, as these wonderful gentlemen have said, they present to you a causal chain. Someone does not drink water. After a certain point in time, they die. That's a causal chain that can be verified. It's not based on a whim. It's not random. It's repeatable. It's not dependent on a mind. By definition, that's not an arbitrary truth claim. So that's another leg of your tripod gone. So that arbitrary thing that you've been running with for a little while, I think you need to drop that as well. Because you said it over and over and over again, and by definition, it is false. Do you have a response to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the question on the table is still blah, blah,
so
blah.
the response, the response to your...
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking to J. Robin, Lord Trinity, or were you talking?
Yeah,
to
he was.
J. Robin. Okay.
I'm specifically talking about the claim that you consistently make that a truth, without referencing God, truth claims are arbitrary. By definition, that is incorrect. Look up the meaning of the word arbitrary, and you'll see that you're factually incorrect.
Okay.
Okay, J. Robin.
You misrepresented me twice, and I'm gonna have to address it. Okay. The first thing you said was that I made a claim that atheists are not able to have rational thought, okay? That they're not able to exist rationally. I never made that claim. So, I mean, there's nothing more for me to say other than...
Wait a minute. I couldn't have... But you stopped doing it. That's the point I made.
Okay. I didn't overtalk you, Jay. I didn't overtalk you, Trini. I didn't overtalk you.
I just wanted to correct that.
And you misrepresented me twice, and I just still didn't overtalk you, okay? So, yeah, no, I never made the claim that atheists cannot be rational. If anything, I said that with respect to their own worldview, they cannot ground rationality, because an atheist has nothing to refer to as to why anything can or cannot be the case. Okay, and in such a world, you do not have rationality. So it's with respect to their own worldview that they don't have rationality. It's not with respect to what is really the case. I never made the claim that atheists do not have the ability to be rational, okay? Because we all share the experience of living in God's world. Now, the second claim you made was that truth claims are arbitrary. Okay, again, what I have said is that, again, you're existing within a worldview that is unintelligible, and you don't have rationality in such a world. That's what I said. Okay, now with respect to the argument that J.L. Warren tried to posit, and it's such a failure of an argument, I'm shocked that he would even think about trying to do that. What he said, he made the claim that God is not necessary, and I asked him to defend the claim that God is not necessary.
No, you made the claim that it's necessary.
Told me, I didn't make the claim that it's necessary. Okay, so you weren't tracking, and I don't want to be overtalked again.
No, yes, you did.
Okay? Okay, we're gonna listen. Look, why can't we start? We're gonna need to start muting people.
Please proceed.
Please
proceed.
Yeah, I asked J.L. Warren, because J.L. Warren came to me. I didn't initiate a conversation with J.L. Warren. Okay, so I didn't make a claim to him. So J.L. Warren came to me, telling me that I didn't respond to an argument he had made hours ago. Okay, and the argument he had made hours ago was essentially, and I clarified it now, that God is not necessary. Okay, I just asked him about 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, if that's his position, and he said yes. Then I asked him to defend the position that God is not necessary. What he gave me as a line of reasoning was that we can drink water, or that if we don't drink water after a certain amount of time, we will die. I asked him, how is it the case that God is not necessary for that state of affairs to be true? And then all he did was repeat the same claim over again.
No, you
misrepresented
me.
That is not a substantiation.
No, you misrepresented me.
He made.
So let me just respond to you again.
I'm not really interested in continuing with you, JL.
Oh, he's running. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah,
Run away from Lord
so-
Trinity. That's fine.
So
I didn't. Did I say
Just let
Trinity?
Lord Trinity go. Let Lord Trinity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
just let Lord Trinity go real quick.
So quickly again, you try
Idiots.
to
Right.
twist it up again. The rationality view, you used to say that atheists aren't capable of rationality. You try to massage it and say within worldview, whatever. In the atheistic worldview, there is rationality. And we demonstrate it all the time because we're living in that worldview. We don't jump in and out of worldviews. So I think you need to refine that a bit more, discard it, whatever. And I'm going back to the arbitrary nature of truth claims. You need to look into the dictionary and see what the word arbitrary means. You keep saying that there's nothing to ground truth claims. So that empirical evidence can ground a truth claim. You do not need to appeal to a God. Because if I say, okay, use method X to grow rice optimally, you can follow my methodology and you will get a result. And my truth claim is grounded in the actual results of the method that I gave you. So when you keep saying that there's no way to ground a truth claim, it's the strongest thing possible. Because as of yet, you have not even presented the glimmer of an empirical method to detect an immaterial mind. You don't even want to go there. So why are you asking from us more evidence than you require for the existence of your God? This is the problem.
Yeah. So you made multiple different claims. Okay, I'm gonna try to address them one at a time as I remember them. If I miss anything, let me know.
Will do.
Okay. So yeah. So the issue, I never claimed that there was empirical verification for an immaterial and spaceless mind. I never claimed that there is an empirical justification for that. And I don't claim that I need empirical. My standard of proof isn't empiricism. So I'm not an empiricist. I don't believe that empirical methodology is the only methodology that is necessary to know things. So that standard that you're trying to posit to me is incompatible on the face of it. Okay. But aside from that, okay, you're telling me that my claim that you don't have a basis as an atheist to make any claims about what is the case, what is not the case, and what cannot be the case. You're telling me that you do have a claim, or that you do have something that is ultimate, that will ground why anything is the case at all.
Yes, I'm saying that we have a method
What
of
is it?
grounding our truth claim, and it's
Okay. What is it that is?
Wait a minute, just let Lord Trinity finish real quick.
So it's the way we ground our claims, our truth claims, is by empiricism. And we can repeat it, we can demonstrate it, and technologies and lives are built upon it. So you keep saying that we have no way to ground something when every day we ground it. And it's the strongest method of grounding. Again, I agree with you. You made no claim that you have an empirical method to substantiate an immaterial mind. You're using faith, whatever reasons. We are using a method that is testable, tangible, that we could build technology, systems, lives, an entire civilization on it. When you have less than that. So I'm trying to figure out why is faith for you a grounding methodology, but empiricism is not good enough. When the both of us talking, we're actually using an empirical method to actually communicate, an empirically grounded method.
You're begging the question.
Do you get it?
You're begging the question.
Yeah.
No, I'm not begging the question at all.
Of course you are. You're saying that empiricism is great because you can verify it empirically.
Let J. Robin finish.
Let me respond. I'll respond. I'm gonna bring all that up. I'm gonna bring all.
at what he said. honestly.
Okay, just let me respond to him really quickly, and then you guys, because he did address me. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna bring up all these issues. Yeah, so yeah, you were begging the question in the sense that you were well, you not I will say that you were presupposing the idea or the notion, okay, that that empirical methodology is greater or is the greatest methodology to use. And that's fine if you want to assume that, but you're gonna need to base that off of something, okay? And again, I'm gonna ask you, what is it that is fundamental, ultimate? Okay, because you're telling me you have a basis. So what is that basis that is fundamental and ultimate, and the reason why anything is the case and why anything is possible and anything is impossible?
But
what is that?
Yeah, this is the thing. Wait a minute. You're not dealing with any of the questions that I'm asking you.
That script has got to flip the script again.
Because here's the thing. I ask you, again, J. Robin, here it is very simply. You say that our truth claims are not grounded. We have nothing to ground them. And I'm telling you that empiricism is a methodology of grounding truth claims that is repeatable, transferable, is not based on a whim, making these truth claims not arbitrary. Do you agree or disagree?
Empiricism, yeah, I disagree, because empiricism is a methodology. It doesn't stand in causal relations to anything, and it's not. Empiricism is not the reason why anything is the case. Anything is impossible. Or anything is possible. Okay, empiricism as a methodology depends on whatever it is that is fundamental and ultimate.
Again,
okay?
you didn't answer the question I asked, and you're avoiding that particular question. No, you did not. I said, if I'm living in a universe and I use empiricism to ground a truth claim, and it's repeatable, it's transferable, it's not dependent on a mind, and I make said truth claim based on this empirical evidence, why is that not a grounded truth claim?
Because when we're talking about a grounding for something, we're talking about the reason why anything is the case, why anything is possible, and why anything is impossible. Empiricism is a methodology. I'm going to say this again. Empiricism is a methodology, okay? And it doesn't stand in causal relation to anything, okay? So empiricism is not the reason why anything is the case, why anything is possible, and why anything is impossible.
That is not what I said.
Grounding. It is not a grounding in the sense that I am using the word grounding, and you have to address the way I'm using the word grounding.
No, I don't.
Talking about how you use it.
No, because you want to
just like J. Robin.
You guys have done this like 3 times now.
If I am the one making the statement about grounding, then you're going to be using the definition that using the word or the term as I've defined
your last
it.
chance.
I've just
What
does
grounding mean?
No, you know what? Guess what?
I already explained it, Abe. I already explained it.
My guy, you can't just invent a new word. You just can't invent a new definition and twist it to mean the way you want it to mean.
Actually, I can, but that's not even what I'm doing.
Wait a minute. Let Lord Trinity.
No, you cannot. Again, if you do that, you render your words what? Unintelligible. If you're using words in I would assume a semi-formal debate, and you're using words in a way that they're not defined in the dictionary, that flies in total contrast to that, you become the standard, not the shared operational definitions that we all use as human beings. You're rendering yourself unintelligible, because when you say grounding, it has a particular meaning. It means a foundation on which other items can be built. So if I'm telling you I can use empirical evidence as a foundation for a claim, and I can repeat it, by definition, it is not arbitrary and it is grounded. If you want to invent a new word and say, well, I use grounded like this, and you have to use it the way I say, no, your name is not Oxford Dictionary. Your name is J. Robin. I rest my case.
It would only be unintelligible. I would only be equivocating if I didn't tell you and explain to you in great detail what I meant when I used the term. But
yes, but
in every single conversation I have with an atheist, I bring up the concept of what it means to be fundamental, what it means to be ultimate. Every single conversation with an atheist I have, that is a topic that is brought up. So I do define what I mean when I'm talking about, a basis or a grounding for something. It is not controversial. It is not unclear in any way.
You're not a standard. You are not a global standard for the definition of words.
I didn't claim to be.
Yes, you are literally claiming to be that in this discussion.
Yeah, to be honest, though, I'm
clearly.
only interjecting because this is like round 5.
Yeah, this is going around in circles.
I actually agree with Jay Robin, and like this bickering about like what words means. He told you what it means, right? So either you can even not use the word grounding and just using like some sort of ultimate or whatever he defined it as. You could just throw the word grounding completely out the window and continue the conversation. Either the atheist worldview has that or doesn't. Period.
And I'm literally saying have that.
And I want Lord Lord Trinity to finish, and I know Spooky.
Yeah.
You want to go?
Yeah, just real quick.
Yeah, that'd be cool after they're done.
Yeah, it's just real quick. The thing is this: I've established a methodology that grounds truth claims that stands in contrast to his. And if we put my truth claims and his truth claims and we test them empirically, mine will win every single time, every day of the week and twice on Sundays. He's willing to make claims and we can test them. So I think that we need to move to the next stage where we can actually test our truth claims and our methodologies against each other to see which one is superior. Are you up for that?
I'm up for you answering my questions when I asked them to you.
I did.
Oh,
no, you did.
All right, you guys.
Anyways, let's move on next time.
Thank you,
guys
Trini.
are going in circles at this point. Spooky. I know you wanted to go. So,
well, to be honest, I was going to ask something to sort of add on to that, but I don't really want to perpetuate that whole circle.
Flute Master, I just want to make something clear. Here. All day, Jay Robin, you demand that we tell you why God isn't necessary, and we still have not heard why God is necessary for intelligibility.
This is a good point. Like, why do you want to talk about this other stuff about like grounding and semantics when like he's literally saying my God is defined as necessary, right? It's logically necessary. It couldn't be any other way. If Jay Robin can't answer why or show why, that God doesn't exist.
Yet he can't derive.
That's actually a fallacy of reasoning. I'm surprised that you would use that fallacy. Okay, that is so obviously a non sequitur.
The idea is that you're making the claim that it's in virtue of certain process.
Do you accept that you just use a fallacious reasoning?
I'm going to explain it to you. You're saying that it is in virtue of certain properties, right? Definitionally, it says A through Z properties, and it is those properties that make it necessary, right? You can present your case.
Okay, I already presented my case, but you just made a blunder.
Fine, I did. Just present the case. Present the case. Good. I don't care.
Yeah. So I already explained this earlier in the conversation. I'll explain it one more time now. Okay, I'm not going to repeat myself after this. Either you're going to affirm or you're going to deny the Christian worldview. Okay, the denial of the Christian worldview, you're going to need to posit, okay, a worldview that is going to replace the Christian worldview.
No, that's burden shifting. Knock that crap off.
Wait a minute. Let Jay Robin go. Let Jay Robin finish, y'all.
It's so bad.
Okay, are we done? Have we got in control of ourselves? Okay.
Why are you so badly behaved?
So whenever you invoke or whenever you deny or non-accept or do not accept the Christian worldview, you're going to be doing so in virtue of another worldview. Now, any other worldview that you hold to, okay, you're going to need to explain how it is that anything is the case, anything is not the case, and anything is impossible. Okay. Now, as an atheist, you don't have anything to appeal to as a reason for why things can be the case, things can't be the case, and why things are the case. Okay, and as an atheist, you have no basis to be skeptical or to be critical about any proposed state of affairs. Simple as that.
So we don't know what to ground not God, and therefore God is true. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that when the denial of the Christian God leads to absurdity.
Okay.
And unintelligibility.
So you're saying, it seems like what you're saying is that you have an argument ad absurdum, in which when renders the not God worldview absolutely absurd. Please render that argument, J. Robin.
I just did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Just saying ad
you shifted the
absurdum.
burden.
Just
I
saying.
didn't say ad absurdum.
Isn't that when you meant when you said
I didn't say ad absurdum.
The not God worldview to absurdity?
Yeah, I explained how that's the case. I explained to you that as an atheist, you have nothing to appeal to that is going to be fundamental and ultimate. That is going to be the reason why anything is, can be, and cannot be. And if that's the case, your worldview is you're operating from a worldview that in which intelligibility cannot exist.
By the way, J. Robin, I just really quickly before, I actually have another recording of you saying that the argument you had is an argument ad absurdum. So it is true that you think that you have an argument ad absurdum that renders the not God worldview
ad absurdum here.
He thought one.
But I already know you do, J. Robin. I already know you do, right?
No, because the way you just construed what I said was not accurate. Okay, you said that I am saying argument ad absurdum and leaving it at that.
Fine. Is it the case that you have an argument ad absurdum?
Hold on. I explained. Okay. The implications of denying the Christian worldview. So I didn't just now I explained it. So I didn't just, as you said, say argument ad absurdum.
No. In a previous discussion, 1 week ago,
we're not talking about a previous. We're talking right now.
Look, I'm just importing the information that I have. That I know that you've said that you have an argument ad absurdum.
Listen, let me finish. Okay.
He revised
it. You just construed my response.
I take it back. You said it a week ago. I take it back. Fine. Just render the argument.
Good.
Just render the argument.
Good. So I just explained that the denial of the Christian worldview, if you're going to be an atheist, you have nothing to appeal to for why anything is the case, can be the case, and not be the case. And in such a worldview, there is no intelligibility. There is no intelligibility in a world. Because in a world where there is nothing fundamental and ultimate that dictates why any state of affairs is the case and any state of affairs is impossible, then you live in a world of just of chance.
Let's let Detroit go at this.
How does the Christian world
it's just nonsense. He's saying gibberish.
I'm not going to take much more of this. I'm not taking much more of this.
I don't expect you to take much more of people insisting that you render the argument. Yeah, I expect
I'm explaining.
Let him run away.
Right now.
I want J. Robin to finish, and then I'll let Spooky go.
Yeah.
She wants to.
I don't really care about your opinion. I already know that you're so devoted to your atheism that even if it hit you in the face, the rational position, you wouldn't recognize it. So I'm not really phased. I'm not really phased.
Okay. Which is why it's so puzzling when you say you're on here to help save souls.
Clearly dishonest.
Okay.
And Detroit, what was the gibberish?
It's not.
No, I mean he's just regurgitating Garth's like good.
I'll be quick.
Right. Like something is like dictating what it is.
You got to be harsher on these people. Okay.
Can Detroit speak?
Okay. Yeah, Spooky. Can Detroit go for it?
I was just gonna say quickly, it's just he's literally just regurgitating Garth.
I was in the middle of a response.
You were finished, J. Robin.
No, I was not.
Yeah, you were.
I was overtopped.
Now he wants the toy after another kid's playing with it. Just let Detroit go, and then Spooky can go.
By the way, I think Neoplatonist. I don't know why he's muted. I didn't mute him.
No, I did because he was just yelling at. He was just yelling at everybody. Go ahead.
I was about to say I wasn't the one who muted him.
Oh.
Who cares?
Okay, so does Troy want to explain to me how it is the case that there is no God?
You don't now. I'm going to tell you right now. Hold on. As a matter of moderation and conversation, J. Robin, you do not get to dictate how Detroit responds to you. Do you understand?
I'm not going to tell you I understand anything. I'm asking Detroit a question, and he can choose.
You
whether
do
or not he
not
wants
get to
obey.
necessarily dictate the conversation by
choose.
starting with
I
a
did-
question that he
okay.
has to answer the way you want him to.
Detroyer. So Detroyer.
He wants to do the filibuster.
Yeah, Detroit. Just
Detroyer.
this
We want
that.
to
If
hear
you get that,
Detroyer.
you're
So
still going
Detroyer.
Destroyer's starting this. Destroyer is starting this. J. Robin, Destroyer is starting this, not you. Not you. Not you.
Okay, so
not
let
you.
Detroit respond because you did ask a question. So let Detroit respond.
No, he doesn't even have to respond to the question.
Oh well, you just respond to
No,
what he said.
Detroit's going to comment on the gibberish. Go ahead, Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like uninteresting. J. Robin is just repeating or regurgitating Darth's bullshit that literally doesn't make any sense, right? What does it even mean to say that something is dictating what is, can be, and cannot be? That just doesn't mean anything, right? What is the case because the world is a certain way. What can be is just these are modal expressions, right, that are made true by, depending on what sort of modal system we're talking about. I mean, we can get into the details, but none of these things are going to be true because of something's dictating them to be that way. That is just nonsense. And if your conception of God is one which entails that He's doing that, then your God doesn't exist.
Do you have an answer to my question?
I wasn't trying to answer your question, but actually, I think that is an answer to your question.
So can you answer the question?
This is a farcical response, J. Robin.
It's clear Detroit just said
Detroit, let Detroit do this. Let Detroit do this. Let Detroit do this.
If you were paying attention.
Well, what the fuck?
Before y'all continue, let Spooky go because she didn't want to talk.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be brief. Like, I feel like the problem, J. Robin, is that you keep saying, okay, so this is the case that somehow having God to ground all of the things you said, I don't remember exactly the order or how you said them, but like, to basically ground everything for things to be intelligible or whatever. If you're not doing that like you have to propose some coherent worldview otherwise, but you've never explained how what you're asserting is something that provides you with all of these things, like all of this intelligibility or all of this ability to like obtain rational thought. Like, I don't understand how saying that you can ground X, Y, and Z, or I guess everything, in a God, where does that connect with like what you're saying that we can't do? If that makes sense.
As an atheist, I've already made this clear. As an atheist, you have nothing to appeal to.
I'm asking about how for you within your worldview does it provide you with all of the things you're about to say I can't do?
Oh, the Christian God?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Christian God himself, he is eternal. He is himself ase, in and of himself ase, meaning that he is entirely he's independent, non-conditionally of all other states of affairs. In order for him to exist, God himself is regular. God himself is logical, which is where we get the laws of logic from. We have God is truth revealing always, okay, which is how we can have a coherent epistemology. And God is the reason why anything is possible, and anything is impossible.
But that last part is kind of the
look.
Also, I know Jack Burton. I saw in the chat that you had asked a question. I think it was twice, but I forgot what the question was. I wanted to give you a chance to go as well, because you did ask a question a bit ago.
Well, no, just J. Robbins bringing up that any non-Christian worldview would be unintelligible, but would that itself be an intelligible claim in a non-Christian world? Seems you've created a paradox, and I don't see a solution to it.
No, okay. Look. If you're gonna just give me the sophistry, look. Okay, so when you, I am saying with respect to the worldview that you're espousing, okay, you don't have intelligible experience. Okay, I'm not saying that atheism or that atheists do not have the ability to reason.
I'm not saying you said that.
But don't you need intelligibility to be able to reason?
Well, J. Robin, first off, I'm not claiming you made that. Well,
let me respond.
You're misrepresenting what I asked.
Let me respond.
And then you're calling it sophistry. So
it is sophistry.
Let me correct you.
Too.
You're making the claim.
I'm not intimidated by you in the slightest.
You shouldn't be, because I'm not a genius. But if I can smell
we know.
bullshit,
You don't need
I'm
to tell
going to
me.
call it out.
You don't need to. You don't need to tell me.
Okay. Well,
You
can
know.
we get past the meta, and can you address what I actually brought up? The paradox, as I see it, is in a non-Christian worldview, you can't have intelligibility. Do you hold to that?
Yeah, you don't have intelligibility in the worldview.
Okay.
Oh no.
Thank you. Now, is that itself an intelligible statement in a non-Christian world?
No.
Thank you. You've made the paradox. I appreciate
There's
it.
no paradox.
Sure
what are you
it is.
talking
No?
about?
So it's not an intelligible claim.
It's too late for this. It's too late for. It's too
I
late for this.
wonder
what he means by
Did I just
intelligibility.
break you, Jay Robin? Seriously?
Run away, Jay Robin. Run away. Run away.
Are you going to really break that easily?
Okay.
You just said you can't have intelligibility in a non-Christian worldview.
No,
What do you
And
even
then
mean
you
by
just
that?
said that itself would not be an intelligible claim, which means you can have intelligibility in a non-Christian worldview.
And
You see the problem you created.
No. If that is not an intelligible statement, then no, you can have intelligibility.
How is it not intelligible?
What you just told, what you just said.
Go
backfired against you.
easy on Darth.
Keep chasing that.
Before-
Keep chasing that tail, Jay Robin.
Okay. Before anybody else goes, Spooky. I know she asked a
Do
question.
any
She
atheists
said,
here think that's a good argument?
She said she wanted to know what is meant by you not being able to have intelligibility in a non-Christian worldview. Just to briefly tell you the definition. I just googled it. It's intelligible means able to be understood, and it's comprehensible. So something that's understandable. So I'm thinking that J. Robin means, are you able to understand or comprehend anything aside from the Christian worldview? Is that what you're saying, J. Robin?
Well, because I mean,
that's essentially the point. Yeah.
Because like he keeps saying that he's not saying that, and someone that doesn't ground their, I guess, reality in God, still has the ability to reason. But don't you need intelligibility at least to some extent to be able to reason at all? Like,
You do need intelligibility. You do need intelligibility.
He thinks we're in the Christian worldview, guys. Can I say something real quick?
He's saying the reason why you can do reason at all is because you're an image bearer of God, but you can't do it within the confines of your own worldview.
That's irrelevant. Like, as I said, he thinks we're in a Christian worldview. Yeah, right. So let me just say this really quick. With regards to intelligibility, think about how crazy this is, right? J. Robin wants to say that God, he listed all the traits, like triune, omniproperties, always truth revealing, blah blah blah, right? The list goes on, and he says necessarily God has all these traits, necessarily, right? And without these traits, we could not have intelligibility, right? But let's think about that for a second, right? Let's imagine that God has told the truth. He's never lied at all in the entirety of his interactions with man, except for one time 1,000 years ago, somebody who was dying, crawling in the Sahara Desert, and right the second before they died, he whispered to them that there's an odd number of hydrogen atoms instead of an even number, like there really is. And because of that, necessarily it's the case when somebody orders a club sandwich at a diner, the waitress has no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Well, can I just ask what the contradiction is? Like, what is supposed to...
Yeah, that wasn't worth a response. That wasn't worth a response. So
highly
intelligent. Talking about the argument wasn't worth a response.
Can I just ask?
Okay, so I do want before you go, Tom. I did want to make a point to J. Robin.
That was gorgeous.
So I did want to make a point. So yes, I know you're saying, J. Robin, that you can't really understand or comprehend anything without the Christian worldview, or without having the Christian worldview. I will say the only thing that I have to say about that is, as a Christian, I'll say that God gave us the ability still, at the end of the day, as humans, he did wire us with the ability to comprehend in the first place. And that's coming from a Christian's worldview. So I wouldn't say that you wouldn't have to that you would have to have a Christian worldview in order to understand anything. I get where you're coming from, as in like because God, in a sense, started, everything. He's the one who gave us reason, but at the same time, He still, gave us that reason. It's just a quality that us human beings have to begin with.
Well, this
I will
Flute
say
Master,
that.
Flute Master, this is
Flute,
easy to
I'm
demonstrate.
not
This is.
Flute. Okay, so Flute addressed me, and I'm going to
I
respond.
thought she
and
addressed
she ran
Tom.
away.
Sorry.
No, she addressed
No,
me.
no.
Oh, by the way, J.
So,
Robin will come up
Flute,
with a response to that once he thinks of something that's a little better than what he's got now.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
just let J-Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jeff.
Yeah. So Flute, again, I'm not making the claim that an atheist who denies the Christian worldview cannot intelligibly understand the world or have rationality. That's not the claim I'm making. I'm saying that with respect to their own worldview, they have nothing to appeal to as to why anything at all is the case, why anything is possible, and why anything is impossible. And in such a world, you don't have intelligibility. So I'm juxtaposing a world where God does exist with a world where God doesn't exist. We're looking at what's different, namely that there is nothing that is fundamental and ultimate that's going to dictate why anything is the case and why anything is possible and impossible. And in such a world, we've established that there is no intelligibility.
So can I say?
Okay, so like they can't.
No, Lord,
they
Tony,
can't.
I called next.
So they can't ground.
If
They can't
anything, the
ground
reverse is
reason.
true, right?
How is that, guys? Just guys, I'll let you guys go. I'm not going to say anything, but listen, hold on a second. Let me just give you some advice.
Okay.
The stuff that J. Robin wants to engage with, there's a reason why he wants to engage with. The stuff where J. Robin says that's not even worth a response, that's what you should be pressing him on. Okay, think about that for a second.
He's absolutely right.
Now, with that being said, you can go ahead and just go round and round and round with J. Robin and do the Red Robin as long as you want. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not about to.
Wow, you can think, Tom, you can think all day that you have substantive arguments. You can think that you have, you can think that you're some sort of an
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
But look, we already have. You haven't defended.
No, Lord, no, Trini. Hold on,
prove me wrong. You said that scenario that I just outlined is necessarily the case. If you can't show me why that is, then
I was in the
you
middle.
Can't show me why that is. You're not licensed to say it's necessary.
Stop over talking. To this day, okay, all the videos you've posted, we haven't heard you defend the proposition that there is no God, which is what an atheist holds to. No, you did not.
Yes, I did.
Okay,
your claim is that God is necessary.
You're right.
You're
so
right.
right.
I have to appeal to your claim to invalidate your concept of God, which is reliant on your claim. Your claim is I'm showing that your God isn't necessary that way, right? You're telling
Show me how God's not necessary.
I did. You're claiming that God.
Do it again.
You're claiming that God is necessarily always truth revealing. Necessarily, correct?
So Tommy, just restate your claim again, and he said that he wants to hear it again, and then he'll go and respond against it.
I'm doing that. I don't need your help, Renzo.
Who's that?
So if God is necessarily always truth revealing, means that it could not be any other way. It's incoherent otherwise. Now, you haven't shown why that is, right? And I gave you an example of God telling one lie to a person who is about to die, lying about even number of hydrogen atoms when there's an odd number or something. Now, you tell me why it's necessarily the case that if he does that, as opposed to never lying ever, then people can't have intelligibility.
Also, before
now you just shifted it. I asked you to provide an argument, and you came back and asked me a question. So you didn't provide an argument.
The point is that your argument.
Before J. Robin goes, yes, I want to say something real quick. Before J. Robin goes, after he goes, I want Lord Train to ask his question because he didn't want to talk. That's it.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can go, J. Robin.
I just responded to him. I told him that
Can we waste less time talking about turns?
Well, I'm moderating the conversation.
Trini, go ahead. What is Trini?
Just moderate.
Look, the argument is just that you're saying that these things are necessary. And if there's nothing about this situation that's necessary to have intelligibility, because I think that there's no contradiction with him telling one person before they die a lie about the number of hydrogen atoms and someone still being able to order a club sandwich. I don't see
how that's incoherent, right?
Okay, look.
So your claim.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Trini.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Trini.
This is going to be super.
Yeah. Go ahead, Trini.
There we
This
go.
is going to be super, super quick. Throughout human history, we've seen anthropomorphization of natural facts, natural events, a river, a volcano, etc. And humans actually thought that these things had a mind. They had a legitimate mind. You could appeal to the mind. They didn't understand fluid dynamics, erosion, etc. So we have proven over and over that these were purely physical events. How do you know that you're not doing this to the natural processes that surround the creation of the formation of the universe, the origin of the universe? How can you distinguish between that situation where it's a human applying anthropomorphization, as we've all seen many, many times, and an actual mind? Can you tell me the method by which you use to distinguish between these two options?
Yeah, God's revelation.
Where did God reveal that, and how did you validate that is correct?
He's revealed himself in multiple different forms throughout human history, throughout special revelation, throughout general revelation. I've gone into detail about what those two things mean. But generally,
Why do you think he wants to engage?
The idea.
Wait a minute, no, this is a complete runaway now.
It's just the idea. It's just the idea when it comes to revelation that God communicates and makes his existence known to human beings in various ways.
But I'm just asking. You didn't answer the question. You didn't answer the question.
I just did.
No, you didn't. Because again, human beings have been saying that rivers reveal things, lakes, volcanoes, etc. reveal things. How do you know that this revelation is from a God? These people who were sub-scientific got this from a God, or they weren't just anthropomorphizing natural
because
processes?
God revealed it. It's because God revealed it.
But that's
J. Robin.
That's literally begging the question. Your assumption is you haven't told me how you know that this isn't a mind. You didn't tell me that.
The only way you could know is if God reveals him to you. Okay.
Okay, and J. Robin, I do want to respond to Lord Trini. Yeah. Okay, so yes, I do believe what J. Robin says. Like as a Christian, yes, that God. Our belief is that God has to reveal certain things to you. He has to reveal Himself to you. That is the Christian belief. As far as to address Lord Trini's question, how we know that these things are a revelation of a God existing, it is our belief. I would say it's one of those things. To us, at least, it's one of those things where it's like, well, it would make sense. Like, of course, it's also believed in the Christian worldview that God, given the nature of his overall being, he lies outside of the purview of scientific investigation. So therefore, it's hard to say, let's have scientific evidence, scientific hardcore proof that a God exists, as if we're trying to prove, like, say, Bigfoot or something like that.
So it's fake.
It's hard. It's very hard, it's impossible, I want to say, to do in that sense.
Can I ask a question?
So you're admitting
real quick. Yeah, just real quick. So yes, that's our belief, and yes, we do. I know people call it circular reasoning, but we do go by God's word as well, and go by what it says. It's part of our belief system.
Right. So it's faith. It's not based on any evidence. It's not based on any argumentation. It's based on faith. So you're asking us to believe something without any evidence to support it. That's all.
Trini, evidence is going to be evidence is going to be worldview specific anyway. So we're talking about what can even make sense of evidence to begin with. So when you say there's no evidence for X, you got to place that in a worldview context to begin with.
But the thing is this. I can give you evidence of what I believe and validate it, and you could use it. But you can't give me evidence for what you believe where I could validate it and use it. That's the problem.
You didn't respond to what Talmud said.
Which worldview can make intelligible sense of evidence, sir? Which worldview?
Okay, we need to deal with that directly, and we have been running away. We've been running away from this all night.
No, I'm not.
We've been running away from this all night.
I'm asking Trini a question. Let him answer. He's a grown man.
Yeah.
We're running away from it, like the
worldview.
Thanks, Trini.
Why don't you let him answer?
Thanks for letting
him run away, Trini.
Wait. Let Trini finish.
Why don't you let him answer for himself?
You guys keep going. I apologize. My apologies for
Wait,
interjecting.
It's okay.
I
You
ask a
can
question?
respond if you want to. You can
Wait,
respond
Yeah,
if you
just
want
open
to.
the conversation. This is what you people do.
Can I ask a question? I have a question for J. Robin. J. Robin, what's
Just
the
let
contradiction?
No, who
if
is that?
someone-
Who's
wait a minute.
talking?
It's
Let
Murphy's room.
Trinity. I want to let Trinity go first before you ask your question,
Okay,
real
so
quick.
let's quickly on this respond to your question. Any worldview that values evidence, causality, cause and effect, can utilize my methodology. If your worldview doesn't respect that, it's on you. Is that a clear enough answer? Because there are multiple worldviews. If your worldview includes evidence and cause and effect, you can handle my evidence. If you can't, that's on you.
You didn't answer my question. I said which. You said I said which worldview can intelligibly ground evidence. You didn't tell me which
I
one.
literally told you. I told you. If your
one is it?
worldview, again, because there are multiple. For instance, someone could be.
That's not what I asked you.
Wait,
I didn't
just some quick.
I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you how many worldviews are there. I said which one is it.
Oh yes,
That's not what I asked you.
Let Lord Trinity talk, and then I want whoever
and let
wants
me
to ask
just
the question.
deal with
I'll
this
let
real
them
quick.
ask.
If your worldview has an empirical element, whatever worldview it is, you can handle my evidence.
All right, Tom. Okay,
That's not what I asked you. I didn't ask you how many worldviews are there.
Okay,
I asked you.
Tom, wait a minute.
Hold on. I asked him something very specific. Which worldview grounds how you can even have evidence in the first place? That's what I asked him.
You would be
very
begging the
specific.
question
and
unless
then you guys will go. You guys will go kind of in circles.
We could go to another.
Yeah, somebody wants to ask the question. Somebody wants to ask the question.
I have a point to make. If I could make
Wait, but just 1 second. Let me just ask this question
very
to J.
briefly.
Robin. Wait 1 second.
Just 1 point very briefly. I think that when it comes to looking at comparing the two worldviews, right? The one that has the sort of takes the sort of position that the universe was started, however it started, and everything in the universe is bound by these very particular laws since that point. I think that they have much more of a chance of having intelligibility of evidence than somebody who takes the position that the world was started, just like the other person believes, but that there is this being that can change any element of the world at any time he chooses to, because he's omnipotent and he can make miracles happen. I think that somebody who takes that point of view has less chance of being able to evaluate evidence consistently, as opposed to somebody who believes that the universe, everything in the universe, is bound by a strict set of laws that cannot be changed.
You can also lie.
Where do those laws come from?
I do. Okay, somebody wants to ask the question. They were supposed to.
So the question.
I want to hear Murphy.
The question that I have is to J. Robin, and it is what is if someone believed the conjunction of God doesn't exist and humans have intelligibility, what's the contradiction that you're supposed to get?
Thank you, Murphy.
That they don't have intelligibility because in their atheist worldview they have nothing to appeal to. That would actually be the reason why anything is the case, why anything is not the case, and why anything can be the case.
Why are you guys over talking?
The contradiction is that intelligibility is based off of consistency.
No, let Murphy go.
That anything is consistent enough to be intelligible.
Go ahead, Murphy. Go ahead, Murphy.
Well, so I'm just trying to understand what the proposition and negation that forms the contradiction is.
Yeah, because you don't have anything. I just answered your question, and maybe because people were over talking, you didn't hear it, but I'll repeat the answer. When you are invoking such a worldview, you don't have anything to appeal to. That's going to be the reason why anything is the case, anything is not the case, and anything cannot be the case.
So where's the contradiction?
I'm asking.
Over talking them again.
Let J. Robin finish.
Well, so a contradiction is just going to be like a statement of the form like P and not P. Like an example could be it's raining outside and it's not raining outside. Right? I'm asking for something like that.
Yeah, you don't have intelligibility even though you claim to, because you exist in a world where intelligibility is impossible.
I put together a syllogism, Murphy, that might help. Do you mind if I present it?
Well, but can I just ask? I think what's helpful is if J. Robin presents an argument that starts from the premise God doesn't exist, you don't have intelligibility. Like we're premising a conclusion, but I do have to go. But you should really, guys, press someone like the argument, right?
We
should
are.
present like an argument.
And I had said a while ago that I wanted to present this, so I've got a little syllogism for you.
I do
J.
apologize,
Robin.
I do apologize, by the way.
It's okay.
I missed it.
So, premise 1, J. Robin. If humans of different metaphysical grounding can interact rationally and intelligibly, then their metaphysical grounding is irrelevant in regards to intelligibility. Premise 2.
No good.
Oh, why is it no good?
Well,
please help.
He's just going to. I mean, this is going to give him the escape route back to the thing he's going to say before, right? That yes, people can, with different views, interact rationally, intelligibly, but that doesn't mean that their views can explain or justify, or it can be true on their view that people have intelligibility and so forth. So he's just going to deny the first premise, right? Even if people with different metaphysical views can have intelligibility.
But the point of the argument
doesn't entail that metaphysical views are irrelevant to intelligibility.
The argument is precisely that you don't live in the world that you describe. Not that you can't function as a human being with that belief, but that you don't actually.
Well, the thing is, I mean, J. Robin has said many times that his belief doesn't establish ontology, though. So it seems like his metaphysical grounding would be irrelevant in regards to intelligibility.
Yeah, Andricus, you just the point went right over your head, and
Did it really?
Even Detroyer explained it to you. Even Detroyer. Okay. So I mean, just nothing. I mean, if Detroyer has to tell it to you, then don't take my word for it. There's nothing.
So Detroit, you tell me how metaphysical grounding is relevant in regards to intelligibility.
Well, I think metaphysical grounding is being horribly misused here, but
okay,
because that's a well-established field in philosophy. It's nothing to do with what we're talking about here, but
okay.
But presumably this is something about like justification, I suppose. But it doesn't. I mean, look, it doesn't. With regards to what he'll say, even though I think the precepts misuse of language here, it doesn't matter, is that, yes, everyone, because they live in a world where intelligibility is possible, they can interact rationally, intelligibility, and so forth. But the claim is supposed to be that only on certain views, and in fact, on their view, only on one view, or maybe it's a class of views, the Christian views, can we account for, or can this rational and intelligible discourse be possible? So what you have in the world is people with different views, right? And views on which intelligibility and rationality is not permitted, but all the same, those people are able to be rational and engage intelligibly just because their view is wrong, right? That's what he's going to say. Of course, the claim is ridiculous, never will be justified. But that's the claim.
But why don't you go further and say why the claim is ridiculous?
I mean, there's a lot of ways. Part of what it is that part of the issue is something that I already said in brief earlier, right? On their view, it's supposed to be that God is, or at least what is ultimate, is what's dictating what is, can be, and cannot be. But the statement doesn't even make sense, right? What is the case and what isn't the case? Right? Statements are true or false depending on the way the world is, right? Statements are true when they are, at least, because the world is as it's stated to be. Modal claims are a particular species of claims, possibly P, necessarily P, whatever. And they're true because of, facts about the modal system in which they're expressed, right? So necessarily P, logically speaking, is true because its negation is a logical contradiction, or something like that, right? Or sometimes it's, when you talk about possible worlds, it can be broadly logically necessary, whatever. It gets a little bit more complicated. But that's what explains why these modal claims are true when they are. It's not because something is dictating them to be that way. That doesn't even make sense, right? I don't even know what's being said, right? But there's just no room for that in explaining why these claims are true when they are. And if the theistic hypothesis is one which requires that that's the way it is, then the hypothesis is just false because you're just saying something that doesn't make sense.
Fuck.
That's not far off from what I was saying, but I appreciate that.
Okay, so I don't have a lot of time. Okay, it's getting late, and I want someone to answer the question for me as to how it is the case that there is no God. If you're not able to do that, then I'm gonna hit the hay.
You have presented no evidence.
I literally just said something.
I want to hear.
Hey, can you engage Detroyer? What he said?
Detroyer didn't give an argument. He just said that he believes that the theistic claim is stupid. That's not an argument for how God doesn't exist.
Now, I will.
Maybe we're just going too high level. We got to dumb it down even
I
more.
will qualify with what I'm. I will qualify what I'm saying in that the conclusion of this is not that there is no God. The conclusion is that there is no God. The God that J. Robin believes in doesn't exist. That's the only conclusion.
How is it the case that there is no God?
That's not the question.
Did you even listen to
Well,
what
I
he said?
think.
How is it the case that there is no God?
The case that there is no Christian God.
I didn't ask that question.
It's so funny how they turn into atheists really quick.
Robin, how are there no? Okay, show me how are there no unicorns or aliens
Go ahead, Detroyer.
insert random thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to bring.
How is it the case that there is no God? How is it the case that there is no God?
How is it?
If nobody answers the question,
how is it the case that there are no unicorns?
Let Detroit. I'm Detroit. I'm sorry, Detroit. Go.
Note that this isn't really important for the conversation where we're considering whether his view is like necessarily, but whatever. I think there are good reasons to think that there are no gods. Anyway, for example, I sometimes just present like a low priors argument, if you're familiar with Paul Draper. The basic idea being, one thing to observe is prior to analyzing the evidence, for any particular claim, existential claim, right, about the world, it's more likely to be false than true because of all the true claims of that sort. There's many more false ones that are possible. So the prior on such a claim is low, especially for more complicated claims. If I say a coin was flipped heads, and I say 1,000,000 coins were flipped heads, the latter claim commits me to much more, and just its intrinsic prior probability will be much lower. And when we then consider the data, right, the evidence that might bear on the truth or falsity of these claims, if it's not significant to overcome this low prior, then the posterior probability will still be relatively low. And the claim is on theism, something like this is going on. The prior on the theistic claim is low. There's not really much to say in favor of it. The posterior is low. Now, there's a lot more to say on this sort of argument. I'm just kind of giving a brief sketch here, but that's a sort of inference that I think is reasonable.
Okay, that was a non sequitur, and I'm shocked that you would do that.
You don't know what
does anyone else have? Does anyone have an
shocked?
You should just be dismissed as a complete buffoon at this point, J. Robin.
You can. I don't really care about what you think about me because you're an atheist.
Well, that is a non sequitur because he was just giving a probabilistic argument, and that doesn't.
You also don't know what a
no God.
is.
Well, that's all you guys give because even you guys have admitted that your beliefs do not establish ontology.
Non sequitur means it does not follow.
Yeah.
Giving a probabilistic argument does not establish there is no God, so it's a non sequitur.
Well, I'm not trying to establish there is no God simpliciter. I definitely will talk about there's no Christian God.
Nobody was asking you about anything.
I don't care about you directing the room, J. Robin. You can stick it.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't you give an argument?
How do you go from Robin, he just established that the argument, that the position was reasonable, that the inference that he made was reasonable. That's what.
Then he didn't answer. Then he didn't answer my question.
Because you haven't addressed any of the arguments presented to you. You just keep asking the same thing.
The question was very clear and concise, and talking about things in terms of probability doesn't establish that there is no God.
Because no one has established why there has to be a God for us to be having this conversation. Like you're saying that intelligibility, a world with intelligibility requires a God to ground everything. But that hasn't been demonstrated at all. Can you give it some sort of deductive argument that would necessarily
His question was very clear and it wasn't answered. This question was very clear and it wasn't answered.
Okay,
Simple as that.
okay. Before you go, J. Robin, I will
Yeah.
say this. All right, so I understand the frustration of people who aren't Christians in here, and no, it's not to put anything on you. I promise, it's not. It's just to say their thing is okay. Well, what evidence is there for a God? Can you show us evidence? That's like their whole thing, I believe, and so they're. Because of the answers that you're giving, they're getting frustrated. It's not to blame you at all, because I know it can be kind of hard to say, well, this is evidence, and it's something for them to believe or accept, right, as actual concrete evidence. But that's where the frustration is coming from. They're like, okay, well, you're not showing us any evidence. Like, what's the evidence? That's why they keep.
Well, I mean, it doesn't even have to
Okay.
be like some sort of scientific evidence. If you could just present some sort of like deductively sound argument.
They're just asking
Right.
for the logic, dude. They're not asking for
Yeah.
like some kind of fucking, here it is. Like, dude, just
Right.
walk them through the logic.
I am.
I did.
We just wanted them where the
did walk.
contradiction
Okay,
is
so now
in
can I
our world.
respond before? But can I
You can
respond before I
respond. You
leave?
can respond. Yeah, 'cause I did
Okay.
address J. Robin. You can respond.
So there's multiple different issues at play here. Firstly, this is not an issue. This is an issue of the heart. Okay, this is an issue of pride and arrogance and rebellion towards God. This is not an issue
Here
of
comes the
atheists.
gaslighting. Here's the gaslighting.
Wait a minute.
All right, so
Yeah, we're not interested in gaslighting. We're not interested in gaslighting.
Yeah, he's talking. He's addressing what I'm saying. I did address him.
yeah.
You know,
So he's
it's
responding
funny.
to me.
Flute. So
it's
I'm
funny given-
I'm making a closing statement. This is a response to both Flute, but it's also a response to the entire room here. And so I don't want to be
Yeah,
overtalked
he's gonna take his shit.
when I'm doing this. Okay. So this is an issue. This is not an issue of atheists wanting to be convinced of the belief in God. This is not an issue of atheists just saying I just need an argument for the existence of God. No, Romans 1 says that there is no one that will have an excuse on Judgment Day. No
You
one.
have nothing.
So this
I mean,
isn't an
stating that
argument.
this is
This
such
isn't.
a matter of fact, but you
can't
appeal
to the
Bible and put together some, even just an informal, deductively sound argument.
It's funny, you guys. It's funny, you guys.
Okay, sorry.
You guys are trying to contend with what he's saying, but your very response just proves exactly what he's talking about. Why would you get so defensive about it if you didn't believe it was true?
That's
That doesn't make it. Wait, if that was the case, I wouldn't be asking, can you fucking explain this at all?
So in response to what Flute was saying, what I'm doing is pointing out the consequences of denying the Christian God and who He's revealed Himself to be. And as we've seen here, all the atheists have utterly failed miserably, okay, to defend that their position is rational and that they can have intelligibility within their worldview. This is utterly embarrassing for them, and they know
because
it.
it's not
And
our
they know
burden.
it.
It's your
And they know
burden.
it.
And
they know it. So
Mind is an
we have-
emergent property of a
Wait a minute,
natural
let
universe.
me.
J.
I
Rob.
want to hear.
Okay.
J. Robin finish real quick. I
Can
want to hear.
we please just like start muting people? Okay, that overtalk, because I this is getting really late. Okay, so this is an opportunity. Everyone here in this room is alive. Everyone in this room has the ability to hear what I am saying, and for those of you who have not accepted the gospel, who have not accepted the who have not accepted the free gift of Jesus Christ. This is an opportunity. Okay, to turn to Him while there is still time.
Yeah, this is an
This
interesting.
is a
That's not an
free.
argument.
I'm sorry.
Wait a
I'm
minute,
not
if he's-
interested in this.
Hold on.
Yeah,
I'll give you proof
The
God
entire
doesn't
thing.
exist.
Look,
This
it's not our
conversation's
burden.
still going on.
It's not at all our burden. He is shifting the burden onto us to defend our position when he's the one meant to be defending his position. He's the one with the positive claim that God must exist because logic or something, and he won't walk us through the logic.
Yeah, like the thing is that like we may
So
well
I'm
be
gonna
wrong, but,
finish
you
my
haven't
closing statement. I'm going to
Yeah,
finish my
let's-
closing statement. I'm going to finish my closing statement.
Before
I'm
anybody
gonna
responds,
finish.
let him finish. Let him finish.
No,
Yeah,
No, let him
Flute,
finish.
Flute,
I don't want to mute people, but let him finish.
Flute, you gotta be a strict moderator.
J. Robin.
You gotta be a strict moderator. So when we're dealing with these issues, okay, this is an opportunity for you to turn from your wicked ways and to get right with God. And that is only done through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ.
Well, that was already done.
No, I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. He does not have any fucking mod perms in this room. So, J. Robin, if you do that again, I'm going to have you muted for the entire next day. Do you understand?
Naughty boy.
We're done with that shit.
What just
Wait a minute, what just happened? I'm confused.
Just a second. Who the fuck just muted me? I'm a goddamn senior mod in here. If I'm fucking speaking and I'm speaking as a mod, you don't fucking mute me. Was that J. Robin?
No.
No,
He
I'll
can't.
come out.
He can't
You're
mod in
done.
here.
You're done. You're done. Back out.
He can't mod in here.
All right.
I'm a goddamn senior moderator, and you just fucking muted me, you dumb shit.
Don't call me that. Don't call me that, because I didn't even realize you were receiving.
We have given way too much. We have given way too much leeway to this guy to be dishonest with all of us on such an unbelievably deep level.
You're a bunch of demons.
Well, yeah, you can think that if you want, but
Shasta, you know I'm not a demon. You know that for a fact.
Yeah, I'm not a demon either. We're all human beings here, and all that we asked for was a simple explanation of why we should accept your particular, and your dishonesty extends so deep, J. Robin, because you're not talking about just how God can't exist. You're talking about the Christian God. So anytime you want to come back, if you want to get into an argument about why the Christian God can't exist, we'll go into that. But this whole Platonic absolute thing that you keep saying is the crux of your argument, I'm not going to engage with you anymore on that, because that's dishonest, because that's not what you believe. And we've all been putting up with this all night, and I think we're just done.
I like how he ignored everything I said.
Completely.
Non sequitur.
Completely.
I mean, he ignored everything that everyone said.
He never answered the question as to where is the logical contradiction to a not God world.
He never did.
I mean, that's the larger point, right? They want to claim that this denial of this leads to a logical absurdity, but there's never any argument. What he'll say is something like, "Well, this is true, so you need an ultimate to be able to make these claims." No one accepts that, though. What? Or let alone the Christian God.
Detroit, would it have been reasonable to say, because, not to necessarily argue pure physicalism, but we could say, what reason do we have to not believe that mind is just an emergent property of a physical, natural universe? What reason do we have not to believe that?
Well, I mean, that's getting into philosophy of mind. That could be. I'm going to be probably on the same page as you there, but you can take a wide number of views that's sort of like perpendicular with or tangential to theism versus atheism.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be a substance dualist, you can be an idealist, but not be a theist or whatever. You can be
So what's the summary? What happened? Well, I'm sure you guys were very productive.
I'm just after dodging consistent questions that were asked and demanding that his question be answered, and it was several times by several different people, he decided he wanted to close off with a preaching statement, and I just decided I'd had enough. And then a senior mod got muted in here, and he evaded a mute and left and unmuted himself and came back. So I said, "Fuck off."
I do like it. Just really quickly, I think just to maybe vouch for Flute really quickly, I don't think that she did that like knowingly or purposefully to mute the senior mod in here. Like she's been for a long time, like kind of moderating almost by herself.
I will give Flute Master the benefit of the doubt that she was just she did run, and Flute, you did for a long time run a very decent. I mean, you directed the room as best as you could.
Lord.
You directed the room as best as you
more
could.
and more every minute. Pressure to mute more and more.
I didn't realize
you're insanely loud.
And I
Rob
wasn't trying to mute
I am
anybody.
insanely loud.
Hey, Robin was
Victor, your mic is.
Hold on, guys.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Flute. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I wasn't trying to mute anybody. Like if you see, even Jay Robin was getting on to me throughout this conversation. Like, you got to be strict. It's just I don't like to mute people. It's just if you keep talking, and I'm like, okay, just let this person finish. I get the frustration. Trust me, I get the circular reasoning. I get the frustration with his answer, especially from someone who has a non-Christian worldview, who's agnostic or atheist. I get that. Trust me, I get it. It's just, I just wanted him to finish. He said he was making his closing statement, meaning he was about to finish, and then, he wanted to go to bed. That was it. I didn't realize Tartarus was a senior mod. I didn't know that. Or else I wouldn't have muted. I wouldn't have muted him. I didn't know.
Do you know that, like, this philosophy of running a room, like, every single person gets a turn, every single person gets, like, equal time, is perhaps in some cases at least more destructive than like muting people? Like you kill, you destroy any possibility of getting anywhere in a conversation.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, it's kind of hard to like do something else without letting bias slip into it. Like,
I think meta modding is not good. Just do the modding. Don't say like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that.
We really don't need to. Guys, honestly, guys, we don't need. I mean, she did the best she could. I don't think we need to rake her over the coals and open an open room. I don't think we need.
I don't think she's going to rake over the coals, but I mean,
a lot of people.
I think it's. I don't see how it's bad to. I think that Flute Master is like receptive to, like, even hearing people out about stuff like this.
Yeah, she's reasonable. She's very reasonable.
I think I'm saying this because I think she has the actual intention of facilitating discussion, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't be bringing this up. I wouldn't bring this up otherwise.
Well,
but it's because I think she has that
really what it is that
the teaching point was when she let Trini make his point out of nowhere, and it kind of derailed the focus of where we were going. And I don't think she did it intentionally, but she was just trying to be fair, right? And I respect Trini's points, but we were on a course, and then when Trini spoke, it gave J. Robin the opportunity to bail on the points that he was being driven on.
My bad.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. I get the frustration with J. Robin's answers. I do. I get the frustration. That's why I was trying to gently talk to him, like, hey, I get, you're frustrated too with them, and it's kind of like a back and forth, and it's kind of like going in circles. But this is why they're frustrated. This is why.
Yeah, remember that there's like 50 people in this room. So, I mean, Flute Master did pretty good, I think.
She did. I think she did. Good.
I agree.
Yeah, and the thing is, you guys asked him the same thing over and over and over in different forms, and it wasn't going anywhere anyway. So I said, you know what? Let me try a different tactic.
Hey, and he still went back to the same answers.
Exactly.
When he said,
no matter what.
Yeah, but you know what? What you're perceiving is like is not something, is nothing. Trust me. When Jay Robin says like that's not even worth responding to, or he's asked a question and there's a pause, there's that silence, you may think that nothing is happening, but to Jay Robin, that silence is deafening, Lord Trinity. I assure you, he does not like that. And while he's in that silence, he's just waiting for someone to say something that he can latch onto.
Okay, got it.
Anything that is said is a life preserver.
Okay. Yep. Got it. I'll be more cognizant of that next time.
Amen, Brother Tom. Amen.
Yeah. Thank you.
I also
thank you. I appreciate it.
Arguments.
I think we all have to keep in mind too that Jay Robin has some kind of brain damage.
Oh, jeez, all right.
That's evident.
Be gentle.
You disagree, Edricus? Okay.
No, I don't. And at the end, I had lost my patience with him because I'm sorry, this is not his room. He's not a mod. He's not a room owner. He's just a kid that refuses to answer questions and thought he deserved a platform all the way to the end of the night. And I was done with it.
Because he steamrolls the conversation, like anytime
it doesn't actually mean literal,
regardless of what anyone wants.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
but that was
maybe
all.
I might.
That was Yeah, but
I might actually mean
wanted to be fair.
mind
That was all.
damage.
That was all.
Detroyer, what do you think he's going to say to that? What do you think
Yeah.
he was going to say to what I asked him?
I don't know, because I think your question is good. I mean, it is a consequence of his view that if even one of these attributes is not satisfied, then intelligibility is possible. There isn't anything what institutes and secures what is, can be, and cannot be. Because presumably on his view, necessarily it's the Christian God which does these things, and the Christian God has the attributes necessarily he attributes to him, right? So, I mean, that's just going to follow.
Right, I don't see what I don't
like
see.
it. I don't like his approach. Like I don't like his approach. He just kind of like gets very militant with people, and
it's called railroad.
Yeah, I don't like your
I don't
manner.
like your approach. So
It's one thing to point out that I don't see the argument, like the connection at all between some like creator God and I don't know the world being a certain way and us investigating and make claims and so on. It's one thing to make that point. It's another thing to say that if you just change the way that God is just slightly, or maybe if it's not God but it's something else that's like more or less the same thing but has one essential attribute that's different, suddenly that makes the difference to everything. Every single statement that people make is now just completely unintelligible. That draws out the even more obvious absurdity of the statement. Even if we agree that it's ridiculous in the first case.
Is Jay Robbing in the room?
He left.
What
I
can
don't know.
So he's not. And you're
Is it just me, or is Tasteless really hard to hear?
Tasteless, if you just scroll up and down,
I mean,
you'll
we
be able
said
to
these
figure
same
it
things
out.
these things were said to him already. So
Listen,
it's not like we're just
you're talking shit about him in group, which I don't fucking.
Well,
I don't care about that. Let's just keep discussing
These
what
things are
happened.
all true.
We're basically we're discussing what happened, Tasteless. I'm not really interested in any of your virtue signal white knighting bullshit. Thank you.
Tasteless doesn't really care.
Like there was
He doesn't
there's
actually
an
care.
event that just happened, and we're just talking about it. That's not really a crime or anything.
By the way, right before we came in here, Tasteless was joining with me about talking about Jay Robbins.
He sure was.
That's the reason why he's here.
He doesn't really give a fuck about that. You know?
Yeah.
Tasteless. Come on, man.
What a joke.
Come on, man.
But what?
No.
What can that world?
Don't be scared to be you, Tasteless.
What can that worldview
Let
do?
me defend
That
myself.
a
There's a distinction between, Tom was actually talking about the conversation, informing.
Nobody
what
cares.
happened.
Nobody cares.
We were not
Lord
talking
Trini, what's
shit
that?
about him.
No, I was
We were
just
talking about their argument.
Hold on a second. We're
Now,
talking
you
to
guys
someone
are
who's
saying
actually
he's
got something to say.
retarded.
What's up, Lord Trini?
So this
You
is
guys
just
are
Oh
talking
dang! Well,
about his
dang!
character.
Don't be
You guys are
like
talking.
that. Just let him talk.
Okay, we're not doing that in here.
so
No.
this is a quick question. What does he claim that his worldview can accomplish that we can prove and test that ours cannot?
Well, he's going to say that his worldview can ground intelligibility and so on.
And how does he test that? Has he ever?
You're talking about an ontological epistemological distinction, honestly.
It's not really tested.
No, apenas los
¿Qué?
We got it.
Do we get it?
I got it.
Fuck was that?
Good.
Okay.
That dude just proved God, and nobody could understand him.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. It's not really tested. It's just something that was revealed to them, which, by the way, revealed is a weasel word. It's just revealed.
Revealed just means they believe that God exists and communicate these things to them.
Right.
Yeah, they actually use it to. In some cases, I think it just means like it's proven by, like when they say like you can look at a flower and God has revealed himself in the flower. They just mean that like when I see the flower, I'm gonna like make some kind of inference that it had to come from God. But they don't want to say that, right? Because then if they say that, they're gonna have to. The atheist is just gonna say, "Okay, walk me through the reasoning, right? Walk me through it."
By their
so
own,
instead, they say reveal.
It's just going to be arbitrary, right? They just have this belief that God
it's faith. That's all
told them things.
Simple as
and that God tells
more.
all the true things.
Right.
It's not faith. No, it's actually no. That's exactly 100% wrong.
Do you think?
It's not faith. The presuppositionalist is not saying it's simply faith, and in fact, it's the exact opposite. They're saying they have direct divine knowledge that was imparted to them by God.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I always try to lead them to the point where they have nothing other to say, but that it is in fact just their faith. It's just what they
They'll
think.
run every time.
What?
But if there's no
I
version,
don't know. One of you guys referred to the laws of physics
He was being
earlier. I just
But it
I
can't
just
be
think
anything
someone
else
declared
but
the laws.
Now this
you know?
guy's insanely quiet. Now you got to work yourself up, man. I'm gonna put you 100.
Victor, let's please not get into the thing about descriptive laws having no causal powers. I don't want to get into all that garbage.
I don't want to do that. I just think if you have laws and they're concrete, they seem concrete, then
okay, you just did what I would ask you that we
This is
don't.
kind of funny though.
Listen. When we have descriptive language to describe functions we observe in the natural universe, that does not entail that those were prescribed to be functions in the first place. They are descriptive of the functions. So
they're imperfect. They're imperfect.
You don't even understand what I just said.
What?
What do you mean
imperfect descriptions of the processes of the universe? That doesn't mean that they don't exist.
Why do you say they're imperfect?
Well, the processes exist.
Why do you say they're imperfect?
Well, because we certainly don't understand all the laws that govern the universe, right? Not perfectly.
What the fuck are you on about, dude?
There's things that our understanding.
Maybe we do.
Not
maybe we do understand them perfectly.
Maybe we do, but we could be certain that they exist, right?
This is like.
But what do you?
Guess it's all.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
I don't know. I was just changing the conversation.
Why?
Everybody's like, no reasons. Well, because you were complaining there's no reasons, so I gave you one.
What's your problem with descriptive laws then? I don't understand.
I don't have a problem with them. I just think that if they're unchanging and they have authority over everything else, then something should have authority over them. Otherwise, they would change along with everything else.
Why?
No.
I don't get how any of that
Don't
follows.
do it. Jay Robin was like, oh no.
This guy, I thought
you guys get
stuck.
Why do you guys so readily want to get into the weeds with Jay Robin? I don't understand.
I don't know, because he's like a retard.
It's funny. I thought for sure this Victor guy was Brett Keane. You're like a fake Brett Keane, right?
No, he's an atheist now. I know Brett though.
Is Brett an atheist again?
Yeah.
How many times?
Really? Jeez. What happened? When did this happen?
The Christians weren't donating enough to his YouTube channel, apparently, so he decided to try the atheist again.
He's great.
When
does
J
Dub still hang out with him?
A few months ago, I think.
You gotta go where the money is, man.
It's hilarious.
I loved his brother's band. That was great.
You don't sound exactly like him, but you sound a lot like him.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Very large vocal cavity.
Did he have like that? Did he have a special stream where he had that sort of chocolate atheist moment?
Nah, I don't know. I don't follow him.
Chocolate? What the hell are you talking about?
The chocolate atheist is
learn the Bible for a month or
part
two,
of great debate community lore, in which the infamous G-Man, right, to prove a point, God knows what point, he went on and said that he was no longer Christian and that his new moniker was the Chocolate Atheist. And it completely backfired, right? Everybody, all the Christians were really mad at him. And then he was just like, it was a complete PR nightmare. But I mean, like the stream where, you know, you get on stream and you say like, oh, okay, guys, I have an important announcement. You know, I'm no longer a theist. I'm no longer Christian. I'm an atheist now. And then you explain why, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I want to see that stream.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think we're all a little tired.
Telling you, when you're dealing with these pre-suppers, one of their biggest weaknesses is like all the things that they say are necessarily the case.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally saying it's logically necessary. It can't be any other way, right?
I'm not saying my approach isn't that it's necessary, that just that it's highly probable.
Cool. Then I want to be addressing. Yeah, we wouldn't be rendering this argument.
Oh, I thought you were lumping me in since I was the last one talking.
No, three suppers.
Yeah. So yeah, if you don't do business in this way, then like we wouldn't be presenting this to you, right?
Raise up along the side of it sometimes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, anyways,
you're not interested in me. Go ahead.
Fuck. Jesus.
Please carry on.
They're literally saying that it's logically necessary that it has to be this way, right? And if you were paying attention, Jay Robin kept asking me for the argument.
Yeah, isn't that ironic? I've noticed that him and Darth both do it.
Logically necessary is something that he's saying it can't be any other way. And if we look at what he's presenting and we're saying, I don't see how it. If we're looking at it and we just look and we don't see anything that necessitates it be like that, then that's justification for, why is this logically necessary, right? You're telling me that if it's not like this, there's some sort of contradiction. So show me.
He never will.
No,
never will, because his argument in its basic form is, see, this is where the dishonesty comes in. Tell me how it is not possible that there is a God. That could be Allah. That could be Vishnu. It could be anything in that slot, and he doesn't believe that, and that's why he's being so freaking dishonest.
Is Jay Robin the kind of guy that'll say it's a contradiction because it's the opposite of what he's saying? Is he that kind of guy?
Yeah.
I don't mind having the conversation.
Impossibility due to the whatever.
On whether like atheism, like global atheism, sort of is true, but like it's weird to have this discussion on whether his Christian view is like necessary and true and whatever.
It's incredible.
And then him to just ask you, well, how do you prove that global atheism is true? I mean,
we even told him straight out several times. Many of us said, we're going to bite the bullet. The Christian God, it's logically impossible for the Christian God to exist. And he was like, I want the argument how no God can exist. And we're like, oh my God.
Kept trying to railroad, I know.
Oh, no God. Not the Christian God.
Why is he ashamed of his God?
Because it's harder to defend. It's got more properties.
Yeah, but that's
more properties you add on, the harder it is to defend.
But this is a question to the Christians. Why is it that the best argument you guys have hides your God from trial?
Well, the intelligibility thing needs to be defined properly.
The hardest version of their view, right? That there's no gods or whatever. And
the intelligibility thing.
Well, if they, on his view, fail to support that, then he can claim victory, right? But obviously that doesn't.
Exactly, to the Christian God. So bring the Christian God forward, put him on trial, give the evidence you have, and then we'll judge from there. Why be dishonest as a Christian? Why do that? Are you ashamed of God?
At the very least, for theism, to have intelligibility, you need consistency. The only thing that gives you consistency is a declaration from a theist God, like the Christian one, that says that he will be unchanging forever. If
a person believes that minds are emergent properties of a natural universe, we could simply say that's where intelligibility actually happens. We're going to ask you to establish why a mind is necessary before human minds to establish intelligibility.
That's a higher degree of begging the question than the declaration.
Well, how is that begging the question?
Because where have you seen minds just emerge? You don't even have evidence of that.
Do you have a mind,
physicist?
Well, that's a dumb question. Sorry.
I have a mind, obviously, but my mind didn't spring up.
What do you mean it didn't spring
up? And I don't hold that world.
Did it pop sideways? What did it do?
Proving that that's the case.
You're asking physicists if he has a mind.
Yeah, I know. I regret this.
So you're saying that a mind can just spring up without coming from another mind that's not even a natural principle. Natural principles say like comes from like. I'm a human because I come from a human, not from a cat. If I'm a mind, I come from another mind, not from the
Calm down, physicists.
So where do the animal minds come from and the animal minds before them?
The natural principle says that like comes from like. If you're trying to hold some sort of supernatural principle where like comes from unlike, okay, well then it would be nice if you had evidence of that. Otherwise, that's a faith-based dictate, just like my faith-based dictate and my God. So you have to give evidence
from like. Do you mean the law of biogenesis?
Life comes from life. A cat comes from a cat.
Biogenesis.
Comes from a human.
Show me where
okay. So here,
material stuff comes from immaterial stuff.
Yeah, so I want to. This is the thing that they use, right? So if you say that life emerged from abiogenesis, they say no. The law of biogenesis completely debunks that. Actually, the law of biogenesis is only stating complex life can't come from complex matter, right? And this goes back to the Greek belief that, let's say, you keep meat out into the wild and it starts rotting, and maggots come out of it, right? So it's basically just debunking that. It's not debunking abiogenesis.
Wait, are you saying that biogenesis is the theory, or that
reproduction?
That life can only come from life?
Yeah.
No, that's the claim being made, but that's basically.
I'm asking you because I take abiogenesis to mean that just that life can come from non-life, but are you saying that to the contrary, biogenesis is that only life can come from life?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm debunking that. It's being used in the wrong context. That's
what
not
do you
the
think
context
biogenesis means?
What are you saying, dude?
Life comes from life
exclusively?
No.
Is there a
biogenesis.
Who doesn't believe in biogenesis then? Who doesn't believe in biogenesis?
The law of biogenesis is being used in the wrong context. It does not debunk abiogenesis.
One second. Physicist, you said that life can only come from life. Where does death come from?
That comes from the natural principle. Natural principle says like comes from like, or from a similar level of causation. Something non-living gives rise to something living.
But you didn't. But where does death come from?
It comes from
death. That comes from naturalism. How would you define naturalism other than something like coming from something else that's similar?
Does death come from something other than death?
As far as we can tell, that's the principle that we use to guide whether or not something is natural.
So a car comes from a car.
We think something would be supernatural.
A bus comes from a bus comes from a bus.
It doesn't normally occur.
Physicists always has an answer. Isn't that crazy? You always
thing.
A house comes from a house.
What's the life?
If you don't have a metric for what's the natural level of causation versus a supernatural level of causation, then what are we even talking about in the first place? A natural level of causation would be like, at the very least, coming from something or something that is superior in ability to cause it to come.
Serious gish gallop. Holy shit.
Just want you to tell me, Physicist, what does death come from?
Death? Death is a degenerate form of life.
So death comes from life? So death comes from life.
Is degenerated to the form of being unlife. It's degeneration.
So life is like death because like comes from like, right?
Life, then death.
Right.
After degeneration.
Life comes from like. So death comes from life. So life is like death.
Death came into the world through some other.
This is like one of those SAT questions. Like life is to life as death is to.
Only imagine.
So you have superior form of causation, life, with the inferior form of causation.
I'm just trying to understand this. Like comes from like business. That's all.
He's arguing about
confusing.
He's arguing about speciation. He says speciation doesn't happen. Is all he's saying.
So how could God create something that is not
that's
God?
Not what we were talking about, was it?
Wait. How could God create something that's not God?
He was talking about minds have to come from other minds.
Yeah, like has to come from like.
Yeah. At the very least, God is life, so life comes from other minds.
Time comes from not
God is
time.
alive. Gives rise to life.
Would you rather say? Would you rather say that death is an emergent property of life?
Ooh,
that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Oh, wait.
Emergent is just like we don't know how this occurred. We know how death occurs. Death comes from
not a property.
Emergent doesn't have to mean that you don't understand where it comes from.
It's basically saying it just pops into existence. It's lazy. You need to say how it emerged.
Why?
Nothing is an emergent property of this conversation.
Emerges from life because there's generation and separation from God. We understand the process quite clearly.
How could God make a non-God? How could God make a non-God?
That's interesting.
We'd have to ask him, how do we make a car when we're not a car? You take other materials.
Well, then your argument fails, Phithis.
The argument just fell apart.
No, it doesn't.
So God
We're not
make a
cars,
non-God.
but we make cars. We're not houses, but we make houses. So there's a chain of causation that is slightly disconnected,
but they're not
somewhat related.
But they're not see. So there's some special pleading sprinkled in.
Yeah.
No, you're trying to invoke supernatural levels of causation where something that's not causative, nothing, or no mind somehow gives rise to mind. That's an inferior level of causation being invoked as a way to find some way to cause something superior than what it can naturally bring about. Non-mind cannot bring about a mind.
God has
do it.
Can you show me can you show me an example of a mind that did not emerge from a brain? Do you have any examples of minds that don't exert from brains?
A ghost, a demon that's speaking.
Wait, you
That would
have
be
one
after
in
they
you have
died.
one in custody?
Unless you're talking about something straight
Can
from
we
heaven
get Jay
with a
Robin
heavenly body.
That's mean. That's so mean.
Caught a demon.
He is Jay Robin.
It's embodied, no physical stuff.
Go ahead, JJ. Ask Phithis another question. We know you're going to.
Yeah.
I had one. Oh, Phithis, where does cancer come from? Does it come from other cancer?
Man's toxic environment. Cancer, when you have the nutrition and the proper functioning of the body, you're not a toxic mess.
Oh, yeah. Where do toxic environments come from?
So it's an accelerated healing process that degenerates from lack of nutrition and then being in a toxic state.
What happens when you drink heavy water, Phithis?
Or apple juice?
You can tell me.
Oh, you don't think that there are like things that if you consume them, even though you're having a healthy diet, will give you cancer?
It depends on how toxic and how many preservatives there
like
are.
radioactive
As Miss
stuff?
Wanderplanet talked about how raw food heals. Maybe our food is so washed out, cooked out, irradiated, and nutritionless, it's not really giving us dynamic
Do you
health.
think if we
Perhaps
had
it's
better
causing
nutrition,
cancer.
like radioactive things wouldn't
What
give
is
us
dynamic
cancer?
health?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Not getting sick, not degenerating, not losing your bones, being in a similar state to native people, where you're working until you're 100
How do
before
you
you
know so
many
many things,
no
Phithis?
degenerative
That's what I
diseases.
want
Can do this all night.
Drugs.
All night.
He just
That's what
knows so many things, doesn't he? He just has a perfect, amazing answer for everything.
The fear of the
I'm
Lord
amazed.
is the beginning of wisdom.
Boom.
Or just being confident in saying anything at all kind of seems like wisdom.
Just because you haven't heard this from science so-called doesn't mean that there isn't something that they may have missed.
Physicists,
Science
are you sure
so-called
your
wants
mother
to keep
didn't
people
grow
in
up
a degenerated, poor state of health, so they're not going to tell you the real score that the Western
If I
diet
ever commit
is
suicide,
terrible.
I want you to know
And
you're
the Earth
terrible.
is flat too,
your
right?
mother
One of the
didn't
reasons.
eat something
The
radioactive?
Earth is flat too.
Look, guys, if you just eat more broccoli and drink more milk, you won't
Apple-
get cancer.
No,
right?
apple juice.
Raw milk, though.
Alright.
Wrong.
You know, you can't go near Antarctica, right? You can't go there.
Just drink tons of apple juice.
And don't go to Antarctica.
That's for the liver cleanse.
Don't meet
the
the
ice wall.
Don't you dare egg him on with this stuff.
Wait, do you get the apple
Oh,
juice?
what else are we doing?
20,000
Don't do it.
foot
You
tall
guys
ice wall.
will respect as a person. If a doctor was saying this, you just eat this up because of their professional pedigree. You got to look at the information for the objective quality of the information.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
What the fuck is going on?
He's talking about dog food.
Welcome
you-
to the
What is
This Is
this?
This show.
Do you get the apple juice with the added vitamin C or not?
Quick, Mary, go
Just
play the
apple
bells. Go
juice.
play
The
the bells.
malic acid
Quick.
in the apple juice is what brings
Oh,
up the
please.
stone.
But what about orange juice with pulp? Do you drink that?
I don't know if it has malic acid in it. Does orange juice have malic acid in it to help break up the stones or not?
No, pulp.
Orange juice is highly acidic.
Why don't you just
Dude,
take malic acid?
Shouldn't encourage this guy to like give medical advice on Discord.
It's not medical advice. It's kooky, like
I think
sugar
it's
is
about
poison.
time.
No, it's
Just talk
medical
about
advice.
COVID.
Absolutely. When you're telling someone like, "Hey, I have an alternative cure for cancer," that's medical advice.
SEACT, peroxide,
you just pour coffee in your ass and you're all
You
set?
say peroxide?
Like
You drink peroxide to cure your cancer? Is that your
You work up to the food grade. You work up slowly from lower percentages up to 35%.
A version of Jesus that you can like think is good is an ignorant Jesus.
What's up? I don't even know how to do a impression. Yeah. It's like how they reinforce their atheism. You know? I know. And he won't let yeah. Yeah, and he won't let anybody else talk. Like, if you're trying to, like, talk to somebody, he'll cut in and be like, no, I have to handle this, you know, for the people. Yeah. Acts all hostile, defensive, badgering people, and then he's like, no, it's my time to call you to Jesus. Makes us all look like buffoons. Makes me so pissed off. I get more pissed off at him doing that than the atheists acting like idiots. He would have kept ducking and dodging for... And they do. They chase around the most ridiculous people because they're not interested in like an actual conversation that gets somewhere.
Oh no, it's like they want a dumpster fire.
Yeah. You go, oh, look at the stupid Christian. He couldn't answer my question. He can sleep one more night, not worshiping God.
Technically, if someone asks you a question and you don't answer, that's actually a power move.
Yeah.
It's not a weakness. Like, you're not obligated to just like answer every question someone asks you or something.
Yeah. People don't get it. And that, like, this whole thing of just like wrestling with them, that's not how you're supposed to share the gospel anyway. You're supposed to treat it like it has value, you know? You're not supposed to chase somebody around like, let me throw this at your feet everywhere in front of you, wherever you go. Oh, there's a puddle of mud. Let me throw the gospel so you don't get your feet dirty.
Well, I just think like they're trying to make Christianity is about faith, and they're trying to make it about like logic and reason and philosophy. It's not that. So, I mean, you're not gonna. If someone comes to Christianity because of reason and logic, they're not Christian because they don't have faith. They have reason and logic.
I give them enough chance to explain to them, you know, like, I think you already believe in God because you already rely on all this stability, you know? If they don't get like interested in that theory and they're acting like that, then I'm like, whatever. That should really make them think like, wow, yeah, you know, I do rely on like actual laws and, you know, stuff that creates this pattern that allows me to do the science in God's face.
No.
You know, it's like,
no. Even if they do go, oh yeah, you're right, and they become a Christian, they're not really a Christian because it's not based on faith. It's just like they're a science Christian or something. Like, I don't know. That's how I don't think reason and faith are compatible. That's just.
Well, I think I've gotten people to look at the scriptures more seriously by going down that line of reasoning, but I won't sit there and fight with them about it. You know, I'll tell them, you know, this is the way it is, and if you can't see it, then think about it or whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, I just thought that was funny. I'm gonna go to another room.
I'm just gonna finish watching this video.
Oh, no! These are in all the New Testaments.
Well, I'm not so familiar, and I never put faith in the Bible. I don't
believing in a guy
the
you
only
haven't
thing
read.
I recognize is I do feel like Jesus had all good intentions to be as like a nice of a guy as you could be.
Jesus is a fictional character created by a bunch of superstitious, delusional mystics.
How do you believe? So you're saying Jesus himself is a metaphor for something?
The character in the story is a fictional character. There may be a person who was named Jesus who matches some of the details, but it's so fictionalized, like Saint Nicholas. There is a Saint Nicholas, right? Is he Santa Claus? No. Santa Claus doesn't live at the North Pole. Santa Claus doesn't answer all of your things, but we all enjoy playing a game and pretending like he does, right?
Yeah, I was just looking through a list of saints the other day.
Is about as historical as Santa Claus. Okay?
Wait, Santa Claus doesn't
I
exist?
do believe that the Bible has been a big
fuck,
game
your parents
of telephone.
didn't tell you that? Oh man,
Wait.
I'm sorry.
I do recognize that the Bible is basically a big game of telephone that's been played over 2,000 years, where the message has gotten passed down over and over and over and distorted and rewritten and retranslated in every different way.
It was a lie at the start, dude. It was a lie from the beginning. They knew it wasn't true when they wrote it.
Okay.
It's not an accident that it got mistranslated, dude. The first.
No, I know
gospel,
it was. No, I'm not saying it was all unintentional. I know that there was intentional manipulation of the text. I totally believe you. I don't put a lot of weight in any Bible, man.
You haven't read it. You really shouldn't put belief in something you haven't read. That's all I'm saying.
I haven't read it, and therefore I put no beliefs. I just said I do not put a lot of belief in any Bible. I do not use the Bible as any justification for anything which I believe. I'm not even familiar with most of it. There's like a couple of passages I've heard. But I have an interpretation and impression of Jesus that does not come from the Bible. It comes from like this consensus of opinion amongst historians that he was a real person who lived. And that there was some things about him that are historically accurate.
Person named Jesus who matches some of the things. Not that the story is true. You have to differentiate between there was a historical person named Jesus.
Not the whole story is true. It is
and
exaggerated.
The New Testament equals true. Yeah.
I believe that a lot of the depictions of what happened are exaggerated stories about something that probably
they're more than
happened.
exaggerated. They're fictionalized.
Fictionalized.
They're
Same
not
thing.
Just look. If I say in one story that Jesus' last words were, "Father, why hast thou forsaken me?" Right?
Okay.
And I say in another that it's something else, and I say in another that it's something else. If I say that at one tomb there was an angel outside and the tomb was closed, and then the angel opened the tomb, and then in another one I say that there were soldiers outside of the tomb and no angel, and then another I say the tomb was already open and they didn't know who opened it, and I say in each of these gospels totally different versions of the same events, which just in important details get a whole bunch of things differently, right? If I say these are just exaggerations of a true story, right? It's beyond belief to say, oh, one of these people exaggerate a little bit.
I'll admit some of it is purely just made up.
Right.
Some of it is pure. Some of it is not just purely made up, but also some of it is intentionally deceptive.
Right. So here's let me just wrap this up, okay?
Okay.
It's important, I think, to prioritize and have some standards about how we form our beliefs.
Right.
And even with things like tarot, it's important to prioritize what you're going to spend most of your time on, right? So I'm going to spend a lot more time reading and trying to improve myself in ways that are actively likely to work. And every once in a while, when I look at the cards or I just feel like it, for entertainment purposes and nostalgia purposes and other things, I'll use something like tarot. Now, the only time that I would use it as like the best tool for the job is if I looked at all the books on my bookshelf or all the ideas I learned and I just couldn't make any progress in any rational way that I could see that would be better than tarot, because I think tarot is not the best way to do it. And then I might say, hey, I need like kind of like a nudge to get me to think in a different way. So I might also just say, hey, I've never tried acid before, and you kept telling me that I should try it. I need to figure this out. Probably that would work better, right? Because
I've never told anybody they should, but if they want to, they can.
I've had people offer it to me and say, hey, it can change your life, right? And I believe them, it will if I try it, right?
Yeah.
So
I say that about meditation too.
Sure, right? So I'm perfectly willing to admit that there are times in our lives where
Toodles.
My internet went out for a second.
Get better internet.
It's not my fault. Those people over there are working on something.
Your fault. Your internet, your fault.
There's
no way around it.
Did I get a response to that I sent? Yeah,
nope.
Oh.
Your internet just cried.
Where's Chad?
He just got off.
Oh, come on, man. He's literally right here.
No, he seriously got off. He said, all right, I got school in the morning. Oh, no, not school. He said, it's 3 o'clock, boys. I got a dip.
What? So why do I see him in here? I'm so confused.
I am too, but he's not talking. He just really dipped, so he may,
Okay.
Who knows?
Oh. That was Bean.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Brain teaser for you. I would think from like their secular perspective, it wouldn't be like controversial. I mean, like
decisions based on a coin flip.
But it's not just that, right? Like if you have a choice between doing something that's likely to succeed.
So only 261,000 today. Yesterday was 39,000. Before that was 73,000. It's just constantly. I can't imagine being a healthcare
flip. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I think the coin flip is purely garbage. But
okay, well, even if it's tarot, I wouldn't make life or death decisions based off tarot or astrology.
Yeah.
Now, here's again how I implement it. And like you said, and when you started saying this about the two sets of books on the shelf, it made me think about the concept of sensory input again, which we had mentioned earlier. And I look at those as two separate available forms of sensory input. Would you agree? Perhaps? I mean, yeah, you don't have to. Anyway, what I'm saying is, like, if I have the choice to read from the encyclopedia all day if I want, I'm taking sensory input from, obviously it's someone else's knowledge, so on and so forth. But I have a meditation practice where I block out all other sensory input, all other sources of information, and I sit with just myself and my own thoughts and nothing else for some period of time, right?
Yeah.
Until I've come to some realizations, usually.
Absolutely.
And now, so through that process of abstaining or fasting from all forms of sensory input, I go about my day and I make my decisions in real time, just in time usually. And I sort of go with my gut for the most part. In actuality, I do premeditate a lot of my decisions. Now, before I go into meditation, I usually read my horoscope, flip 3 tarot cards, and those things are espousing archetypal mind constructs that apply in psychology, and these like groups of somewhat related things. There's like, from what I understand, is like 22 basic archetypal mind patterns. Yeah. And so astrology and tarot both leverage these things, these functions. And when I read my horoscope and I flip those tarot cards, and then I go into meditation, it's sort of like I use it as the very last form of sensory input I'm going to consider before I go into my meditation. And again, I don't let it guide my decisions, but it gives me some additional, just a little bit additional food for thought. It's like the salt and pepper on the knowledge I collect.
To be like a healthcare worker and all this, but
another
to your inspiration ritual, which
it's already there. Yeah, so that's part of it. You know, I